Welcome back to Block Party number 95. And we're just talking about kind of these two, how the two solutions are really need each other. Solar radiation management to solve the heat problem, and Love All, Feed All to basically solve or begin to solve all the other problems, right? Just going plant-based solves, probably 80% of the world's problems beyond the overheating, right? And the way I think of the feeding everyone portion is that starts the dominoes tumbling, because here's the thing: as long as people are struggling and see themselves in competition with other humans, and there's only so much to go around, and that we're basically in a struggle against each other, as long as humans are fighting against each other, competing against each other, and the losers are starving to death, it's kind of hard for people to think about anything else other than making it, you know what I mean? But if we get to a place where we're all taking care of each other, then we can turn our attention to, to solving the needs of other species and Mother Earth as a whole, right? I kind of think of it, imagine like there's a plane that's going down, a jet plane that's going down. It's kind of, it's going down, but the pilot and the co-pilot are engaged in a fist fight, and they're tumbling on the floor and they're throwing each other against the walls, and nobody's really, taking care of the plane. But once the pilot and co-pilot can work out their differences and hug each other and apologize and say, oh my God, we realized that we're brothers, or brother and sister after all, or whatever. Now they can sit down and take controls of the plane and take it out of its nosedive and, take it to where it needs to go and land it safely, et cetera. That's the analogy, right? As long as humans are in competition with each other, and a good portion of us are either starving or malnourished, but suffering from serious deprivation. That's the key, deprivation. As long as half of humanity, or 80% of humanity, is suffering serious deprivation, the other 20% are afraid of falling to that state of deprivation. And that's why you just have this insane hoarding, because there is no safety net. It's like, because there is no safety net, even the humans who are prosperous are constantly just climbing, because they're terrified of falling, because there's no safety net. So everyone feels like they need to hoard. And it's just a sickness, but it's a systemic sickness. We're playing the wrong game. Hoarding and causing deprivation for our sisters and brothers is just the wrong game. It's like the game of Monopoly, where every player is just trying to just take everything for themselves and kick the other players off the board. Literally, that's the game of Monopoly. It's a zero-sum game, right? So again, back to the pilot and co-pilot, as long as they're fighting, the plane's going down. So we need to turn human beings from our worst enemies to our best friends, to our sisters and brothers. Because once we're all loving each other, of course, we then are going to next turn our attention to the rest of our sisters and brothers, species, sister and brother species, ecosystems, et cetera, and Mother Earth as a whole, right? But it's kind of hard to get humanity to focus on anything else when we're busy trying to kill each other, basically, to put it in just very stark terms, right? So that's what, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, or pay the bills. Like, I think about my daughter and her husband. They don't look like poor people. They have this too big of a house to take care of, but everything's in debt. So they're up to their yin yang in stress all the time. So it's kind of like the working poor, where they're always in debt, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, so that's a whole other level of competition and survival. And it's a high percentage of people in Canada, especially Alberta, where, the land of oil, right? Where everybody came here for the land of oil. And so then there was a certain standard everyone wanted to keep, right? And what does that do? It puts everyone else in this state of the haves and what it's going to take to maintain that. And it's a huge amount of stress. I see her in a huge amount of stress, so it's a whole other level of competition and survival, because they have to keep up. They have to have two incomes. They have to struggle every time the kids are sick, and always, rely on other people to, and she doesn't like that, she doesn't like the fact that. So anyways, it seems like a have problem, not a have not having problem, but there's a whole bunch of people in that position. And when you put people on a survival mode, even on that level, they can't think about helping others. They're just thinking about paying their bills and not losing their house. Like right now, when COVID happened and people in Alberta came to the land of oil, my friend's a realtor, and he said, the bank can't release all the foreclosures because it would just flood the market. Like there's so many foreclosures and people have been paying off their houses for forever. And now they have nothing again, right? So it's just, that's a whole other piece within itself. And what does that look like? And so many people now are living in their trailers. The good news is conscious communities are going up. People are starting to share space and let go of the idea that they need all this stuff. So it's done some incredible good, but so many people are on a survival mode and they don't even know it. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. You've hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head. Yeah, go ahead, Marco. Yeah. Mhm.
I remember this from the late 70s during the oil crisis. It was the same thing. All the people around us that seemed so wealthy, snowmobiles and motorcycles and cabins and boats and all that stuff. And when the energy crisis hit there, the oil crisis, they all lost everything. They only looked rich. They were not. They were deeply in debt. And when they got the cuts at work and everything else that came out of that, they lost most of what they had, if not all of it. And for us, farming and mostly organic gardening at the time, market gardening and doing crafts and things, we were pretty much untouched. So living frugally and knowing how to do things for yourselves really makes a difference. That's the real richness.
Yeah, beautiful.
I pass the feather.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine who's very good with his money, but he's like, I don't know why they didn't teach us about money in school. They taught us about a bunch of things that were great and all, but they could have had a course on, financing and God knows and everything else. But one of his things that he's told all of his friends in the trades, contractors and whatnot, he said, unless you at least, this is going back a ways, he said, unless you at least have $10,000 liquid cash, tucked away wherever you want to tuck it, but unless you have $10,000 cash, you can't even think about the things that you should be thinking about because you're just worried about just making just the ends meet just right in the nick of time. So that's like a baseline just that starts out when you see young people coming up. You need to have some good savings and then you can think and make better decisions.
Thank you, Bill. Shall I raise a hand? Okay, I don't see anybody saying no. Okay, a couple of things come to mind are some people don't know how to manage money. It's hard to know that. And if you're brought up where you don't have any, how do you know what to do? But you see people have things. And my nephew is one who, when he got a job, he wanted things because other people have things. And it's not just things, it's those games you could pay a whole bunch of money for. And as much as we talked about saving and having a backup, I don't think it's just him. I think it's part of our culture that we have to be valued and to be respected by whatever peer group it is, whether you're going to this group of restaurants or whether you're playing games with your friends that have whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's really, really hard. I don't think the food will solve that, but having food will then keep that insecurity out, and they still may be blowing it on things, or but at least their creativity, they'll have food. They'll have food and shelter. I thought I would show you this 2-minute clip, if that's okay, about rich and poor, and the discrepancy is pretty amazing to me. Let's see, I'll put it right here. Oh, wait. Can't see it because I forgot to click those boxes. I don't know. Is it big enough to see? Let's
Yeah,
try.
yeah. We see a pad of paper. Yeah.
Okay.
You're kind of poor, relatively speaking. Let's make a chart about this. Behold, our humble chart. Each of these squares is $5 billion. Down here is a person with $0, dead broke. And up here is the world's richest person, Jeff Bezos, with $190 billion. Here's you. Statistically speaking, give or take a couple $100,000 of net worth. Here is where the 1% starts, just above you, at a minimum of $4.5 million net worth. Here's Kanye at $6.5 billion of net worth. Most famous people are less rich than Kanye. For example, Trump, Oprah, Jay-Z, Floyd Mayweather, LeBron James, Kylie Jenner, Mark Cuban, that guy from the Wolf of Wall Street in real life, and every politician that you've ever heard of except for Michael Bloomberg, who at $55 billion is much closer to having no money at all than he is to having Jeff money. At a whole nother level is Elon Musk at $180 billion, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg at $132 billion. 99% of Americans are between here and here, and 17 million Americans are below zero with a negative net worth. I bring this up because every time I'm like, we should tax the rich, somebody with a Peloton and a 3-car garage is like, do you mean me, John? No, I do not. You're poor. Again, relatively. Your life here is a lot different than somebody's life down here. We are all poor compared to right here. All I'm saying is that we can vote together to rebuild the country and make the super rich pay for it. After all, this is the only country on earth where you can make that kind of money semi-legally.
I just thought that kind of was a different way of looking at money distribution and thinking about those poor people below the zero line, and then those way up, the super rich was really big.
No, it's absolutely obscene, and it wouldn't be the problem that it is if we had guaranteed basic human needs for everyone, right? The problem is that people are deprived, right? I wouldn't have so much of a problem with people being super rich if everyone had guaranteed plenty of food to eat, and not just crappy food, but delicious, nutritious, plant-based foods. Boom. And everyone had shelter, a place to live, and everyone had health care. I mean, if everyone had all these basic needs met, life would basically be like one giant camping trip where everything's taken care of and no one has to worry about anything, right? But we're so far from that. People are struggling. And it's just not fair. And as long as people are struggling, they simply don't have the appetite for taking care of Mother Earth, animals, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it just makes sense, right? As long as people are suffering, they don't, it's hard. What's the saying? It's hard to have empathy. It's hard to have compassion if you're struggling. Like, compassion and charity are a luxury for people who are doing well. Looks like Bill has something to say about that. Go for it, Bill.
Jamin, do you go camping?
It's been a while.
Okay,
But
because it's a
I
little
used to
bit of
love
work.
them. Huh?
It's a little bit. It's a little bit of work. It's you got to think
It
about a
is.
lot of stuff. It's. I don't know that that's the best example.
All right. I'll think. Okay, let's call it Club Med. Life becomes like Club Med, where everything's paid for, everything's taken care of. You don't have to worry about buying anything. All your food, shelter, everything just taken care of.
I think
Right.
it'll be more like camping, because I think that we have to give up the Club Med idea. I don't think it hurts to have to work a little bit for certain parts of our life. And I don't think we need to be so cushy. You know, I built a tiny home and eventually I hope to live in it, and it's off the grid, and you know, I'm looking forward to that simple of a life, actually. And I'm tired of the other, like this. I live in a relatively too big of a house for me, log house. Yet I've used it for everything else. I use it for retreats. I use it for teaching plant-based food. I do my massage therapy here. I do all my work from home, and I'm attracting a conscious community, and that's the only possible way I will stay here. But I think the other thing is, you know, again, to bring this up, is there's a lot of working, struggling people. And I think that we don't take that into consideration, like people that make a fair bit of money, but the cost of living is so expensive. And that's very much that basic shelter where people aren't just trying to pay for a place to live. That's another form of struggling, because what happens is they lose empathy. So I've seen it with my son, who was always away from his family so that he could work in the oil field, because that's the place that was going to pay him the most money. And he was very angry when people didn't have work or didn't work, because he thought, if you really want a job, you can find it in Alberta. And he was angry because his job was yucky and gave him no sense of happiness. And it took him away from his family. And he still was always behind the 8 ball because the cost of living is astronomical. So that's a whole other level, because people aren't going to help people if they think that their life is so friggin' miserable, and that if other people are just sitting around, that's kind of way in the back of their mind what they want to do. But people wouldn't just sit around, because people aren't inherently lazy. People would find their God-given gifts to be able to bring the world. I've been very fortunate that way. I've lived on almost less than $20,000 a year I've been making. And that's it. And I've been managing to live off that because I have my house paid off. But if I didn't, there's no way I could live like that, right? But I live really simply. I don't buy anything new. You know, I make all my own food. I don't go to restaurants. You know, and I've made that decision. And always knowing that I'll be taken care of, because I always have been. And I haven't had to do work in a very, very long time that hasn't made me happy. And to me, that's what matters most. But a lot of people don't see that as an option, and it isn't an option for most people. Because if they made the kind of money that I've made, which is below the poverty line or right on the poverty line, they would be in poverty, whereas I'm not. And so it's very, very important, like you said, to meet people's needs in a basic way. And I think that's what we're going to find as these conscious communities are going to return. There's going to be more tiny homes than there's ever been. I mean, the tiny homes around here, the tiny home market right now is astronomically going up. In fact, and it's pretty cold here. And there's a conscious community, a yoga community that lives just a couple range roads away from me. I live out in the country, and they're living in Mongolian yurts, most of them. And they built their rocket stoves, because there's a lot of deadfall here. So they're not cutting down trees to stay warm. And they're so happy. They're off the grid. They're on a solar panel each, and they're living in Mongolian yurts. And she's, the one yoga, like they're not paying any money to be on the land, because the one yogi had the land paid off. And he's not charging them anything. They just have to be part of the community. And they've never been happier, these people. living in this 300 square foot Mongolian yurt. So I think that's what we're coming back to. And that would be the simple providing that people really need. It would be kind of more like camping in some ways. But you know what? And whenever I spent long intervals camping, not in a tent, but in some sort of shelter where I felt that I wasn't going to, not that I feel I'm going to get bear attacked, but when I do smell a bear and I'm out in the country or out in the mountains in Western Canada, where I live close to the Rockies, I kind of want something harder around me so I can get a good night's sleep. Because when I could smell a bear, I'm like, he's too close. So you want some sort of shelter. But man, I'm happy. I'm happy because I feel life is so simple. I don't have tons of silverware. I have one pot. Anyways, yeah.
Wow, beautiful, Tammy. Beautiful. You know, I think we're really getting to the essence of solving the world's problems. And I'm not kidding, because like I said, once we solve the food problem and once everyone is fed like really well nourished, 3 meals a day, 3 hearty meals a day of nutritious, delicious plant-based foods, where plant-based stew is just like your prime example. I'm not saying stew for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? But that's just an example of a hearty meal that if you had to, like if you're out camping and that's all there was plant-based stew for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you'd be darn fortunate. You'd be very happy. Of course, we need variety, but I'm just saying, listen, once we are feeding everyone 3 meals a day, guaranteed, all around the world, and there is no malnutrition, there is no hunger anywhere in the world. I mean, anywhere. People are going to say, whoa, that was easy. And that was fun. And it's awesome. And we're no longer killing animals and devastating ecosystems to do it. The logical question then is, what's next? Well, what's next is shelter. What's next is shelter. And like you say, between tiny houses and yurts and all that, and we just need to get creative, right? Of how do we do that? And we've got so many brilliant architects and builders. Bill is a brilliant builder right here in this room. And Marco has done building. I've done some building. I'm an engineer. I mean, we have so many innovative solutions, right? And it's a matter of shelter, warmth, and security, like you said, about the bears and all that stuff, whatever it is. They just need to be dry, warm, quiet, provide privacy and safety, right? With running water, with hygiene, showers, baths, laundry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once we get all these basic needs met, then it's like, whoa, why didn't we do this before? Why did we let half of humanity or 80% of humanity suffer deprivation? It's absurd. And with 80% of humanity suffering deprivation and the other 20% afraid of it, right? How on earth are we going to get a critical mass of humanity to care about anything other than their own survival or hoarding? As long as we're playing the all-day Monopoly game, right? I used to work for the richest person on earth, Bill Gates at Microsoft. That guy has no peace. Hoarding is an addiction. The more you have, the more you want. It's crazy. There's no end to it. Humanity, we are playing the wrong game and we're trapped in the game. It's the Hunger Games and we're trapped in it. And it's screwing us all up. There are a lot of people who believe that money is a poison. I'm one of those. Right? Now, how do we get out of the money system, or do we even want to get out of the money system? These are fundamental questions, but the more important one is, how do we take care of everyone's needs? And it turns out that's easy and it's inexpensive. What's expensive is dealing with the aftermath and the effects of not taking care of people's needs. You have crime, you have suffering, you have murder, you have violence, you have suicide, you have depression, and you have sociopaths like my former boss and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, who are just hoarding, and destroying the planet in the process. Right? So, yeah, Bill, yes, go ahead.
The only thing I've heard this from a couple different sides, and what I get nervous about is if the people who've got the money, if we're kicking them in the face and they could solve some of our problems by getting this done, extending their glide also, it's a catch-22 because we kind of need them or government to get this done in a timely manner. So the marketing, because that's my hobby, the marketing aspect of this is tough because you got to be careful with your message. You know, it's like I've listened to some things that the group I'm working with, Mir, has said, and it's like how things need to be after we succeed. And I only care about getting this thing started. So I'm just nervous about conversations that deal with anything other than a positive thing. There's a problem. This is how we fix it. I don't care about anybody's religious beliefs. I don't care if you do yoga. I should probably be riding a bicycle. Are you riding a bicycle, Tammy?
I just got off, gonna do a half an hour yoga. I'm writing a
That's
book.
awesome.
I'm writing a book and I didn't get out of bed. I sat in my bed this morning from the moment I woke up, but except for a little bit when I contacted Silesh about what I wrote. And I was writing my next book for about 7 hours. So I needed to get moving a bit. So,
Yeah. But by the way, what's a bear smell like?
like a skunk.
Really? I mean, just you know the smell, right?
Well, it's like a skunk. It smells a lot like a skunk, but there's certain areas in the mountains that there aren't really skunk populations. And it smells really rank like a skunk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can tell you what the exhale of a whale smells like. And it smells really interesting. Well, it smells like the inside of an oyster factory. I mean, it's pretty powerful. When you see a plume go up and the wind's blowing right at you, and I'd never smelt it before. And he's like, I was telling my fishing buddy Joe, and he's like, "Do you smell that? You smell that?" He's like, "That's a whale." I'm like, "Oh." So I get it. Yeah. But anyways, Jamin, I'm just nervous about anything that's not. I'm nervous as a marketing wannabe person to not exclude anybody, because we're all basically the dog jumping halfway up to the bone right now. And if the dog never gets the bone, it's like, and all of a sudden, this is what I was telling the other team Mir, if we start talking about excluding or how the world should be, and we all know that we all know what that's supposed to be like. But if we say capitalism sucks, it's why we're here, big oil sucks, it's why we're here, we're picking a fight with the biggest people in the room. And we should just try to get to the bone, which is SRM. And however we do it, I don't care. I want to do it in all ways. So I'm nervous about any talk about beating up people who might be able to help us.
Okay, I've got an ooh response, because what we're doing is we're combining two things that don't need to be combined, right? Taking care of people's basic human needs and beating up the rich. Those two do not need to go together, right? I'm with you. Just like SRM does not need to be combined with beating up the fossil fuel industry, by no means, right? So I'm totally with you, Bill, about not picking fights that we don't need to pick. And all I was saying about, we go into a lot of different directions here in this conversation, but so let's boil it down to its essence. The two main solutions that are most urgent right now for the world are love all, feed all, and solar radiation management. And we don't need to beat up nobody. We don't need to pick a fight with anybody, right, in order to achieve those. In fact, love all, feed all is incredible. It is so efficient, right, that the middle class alone could fund it with some very tiny donations, right? Most of the work is done by volunteers who love to do the work. I'm going down to LA, right? I'll be there for 3 weeks. I'll be We're going to do 3 Saturdays. I'm going to be singing my heart out as Darth Vader and loving every minute of it. Just like I went to Scotland to do, to promote both Love All, Feed All and solar radiation management. So let's keep it really clear and simple, because here's the thing. Once we feed everyone, I'm telling you, it's just going to be this mass awakening. We're going to look around and everyone's going to be well fed. No one is going to be so deprived that they don't have good nutrition. There might still be some houseless folks living in tents, but you know what? I'd rather they be living in tents and eating 3 delicious, nutritious, plant-based meals a day than living in tents and going hungry or malnourished, right? So let's get our priorities straight. I'm saying let's solve problem number 1, the most acute, most severe problem of deprivation, which is hunger and malnutrition. Let's solve that first. And I'm saying that once we knock over that domino, the rest of the dominoes are going to go tumbling in terms of meeting human needs, basic human needs, shelter, healthcare, etc. First of all, the costs of healthcare will be far, far less because people will be well nourished. And just like the cost of healthcare will be far less still if people are well nourished and get a good night's sleep in a warm bed where it's quiet and safe and they're not stressed. They don't worry about getting robbed or raped or beaten up, right? Deprivation is a killer. It's killing humanity and it's killing the planet indirectly. Why is it killing the planet indirectly? Because as long as people are trapped in the Hunger Games, the all-day Monopoly game, where we're competing with each other, again, it's like the pilot and co-pilot in a fist fight while the plane is going down. Neither of them are focused on where the plane's going. They're focused on the damn fight. They're focused on winning the fight, right? And it's a fight that can't be won. There is no winning when there are losers. There is no winning when there are losers.
Did you have a comment, BJ?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. BJ, your hand color blends in with your wall, so we haven't been noticing you. I'll pay attention to the participants list.
I'm sorry, BJ. I'm sorry. Go ahead, BJ.
Yeah, that's okay. I do need to change the hand color, especially with those beautiful drapes made of sheet material. I was going to say something along the lines that I think camping might be a good analogy. It can be work. It can be fun depending on your attitude. Just like farming, raising vegetables can be fun, but it also can be a lot of work from anybody who knows people who have worked on tomato farms, who have ever picked vegetables, in rows and rows of fields. And I was thinking about Dr. Rao saying that that the British made rules to keep people working, so they would need money, so they would work on their ships. And right now, we, the middle class and the rich, need people poor, so they will work doing asphalt. Who wants to work doing asphalt? I'm not going to volunteer to go spread asphalt in the heat on summers like I see people. I'm not going to, who wants to volunteer to be a cleaning lady, a cleaning man, a clean out garbage person, so let's imagine everybody gets food and water and shelter. Then they're going to say, I'm not going to do Taco Bell. I'm not going to do delivering garbage. I have some creative ideas myself. I want to build a tiny house myself, and good for them. But what it means is that we will not have some of the things that we have until we as a community or a group say, well, we need somebody to go out there and pull the plants in before it freezes. And you got any volunteers? I'm trying to imagine what it will look like, because keeping people poor keeps people working for us, and we don't want that. We want a more egalitarian way, but to just say, okay, everybody is going to be fed. Well, who's going to grow it? Who's going to drive the truck you know, 24 hours to get to the place to deliver it. So anyway, those are for the future. Those are not those are not things that should keep us from moving forward, because we have to move forward, and Love All Feed All will do that. But I am saying that to imagine that we're going to live exactly the same way we are now will be is not true. I mean, I don't see how it can happen. And when I look at other countries and I see how far away they are from having land that can grow food, and how much food it's going to take to get them good healthy food while they start planting things and waiting for it to grow. It's a big task. I mean, we're up for it. We got to start somewhere. But those are some of the thoughts I thought I'd share. Thanks.
Christopher?
Marco,
Or
you go ahead. You had your hand up first, man.
Yeah, thanks, Christopher. Yeah, one of Zoom's latest updates was that when you put your hand up, they put you in order of the way you put your hand up, so there's no guessing who was. But yeah, to answer BJ some of that, we're at a level of technology right now where there is virtually no or literally no task that's dangerous or monotonous that we can't do with technology, freeing us to better ourselves. And there will always be a certain number of people when it comes to growing food and serving food and feeding each other, that's such a natural thing to do. And growing food, when it'll happen on a more local scale, and it can be taught so that communities will do most of their food growing near to where it's being consumed, and all these things will come together. We're at that level of technology where this is possible. We just have to do it. First, we have to not burn up in a fireball, so we need to take care of the SRM first.
I agree with all that. Thank you, Marco.
Yeah, thanks, Marco. Okay, Chris.
Marco, you stole my point, man. That's what I was gonna say. Pretty much. I would only add to that yeah, well, the fireball thing is a pretty big deal. And there's an argument that we can't put too much faith in roboticized labor, but there's a lot of people that disagree with that. And people used to think back in the day that we couldn't do what we're doing. And I think it's possibly just a lack of imagination on our part if we feel or think that roboticized labor can't make up the gap in these areas. That being said, technology seems to be something that's a weight on the ecosphere in itself. So we're building more machines and producing more systems that consume energy. Some people say that that's a problem. I'm not sure. I think technology, if we want to keep going in the direction that we're going, I think Marco's correct on that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a combination of the advanced technology and the more simplified life we'll be able to live. That striking the balance there is all we need to learn.
So I was going to say, I just remembered, I'm thinking for these unpaid jobs or these jobs that are low paying, what could happen is the governments and centralized systems, if they're more money efficient and more compassionate, they could pay these people more. You could pay people an amazing wage to do these terrible jobs. And so that there'd be some competition maybe to fill those roles. That's just an idea.
The Sounds of Aquarius, I think that's the Aquarius money system is being worked on. So we have a whole nother currency besides money, not a money system. So that came to mind. Aquarius what it was before, but sounds of Aquarius, I'm hearing. Yeah, Bill.
So I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but what's probably going to happen is this. Can I speak freely?
No, no, go ahead. But we know we are recording. Go ahead.
Just a little closer to your mic, though. I can barely hear you.
So what's probably going to happen is that eventually the people who are controlling the oil and the money are going to figure out that this will cool off the earth and it'll go gangbusters. And what it's probably going to do is extend their glide, and they're going to burn it up and nothing's going to change. And that's okay, because I'm not saying I want that to happen. I believe that all of these things that we're thinking that should happen in Aquarius are probably not going to happen, and we're just going to burn it up to the end. And that's what I think is going to happen. But will be cool.
Could you say what you mean by we're so people will just keep using oil and they'll keep deforesting and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah, what's giving them incentive to not do that? We've just given them a parachute. It doesn't matter. I still want the parachute. I'm just saying what this is. I mean, I'm being selfish here. I want to extend, I want my kids to possibly be able to live to be, I don't know, my 20-year-old daughter to become 30. But in the meantime, nothing on that trajectory that, I just printed out has changed. So that's why I'm just saying it, it's not like if we are successful that capitalists are going to think any differently. We can think, we could hope that they do, but I'm just throwing that out. I'm just throwing that out there amongst this is an inside recording group. But why would they possibly change?
Actually, to be clear, we're recording with intent to publish, because part of our mission here is to share. So when we're recording, by default, we mean with intent to publish. I'm going to pause recording for a second. And to be clear, I have no problem with what anyone is sharing. We're all speaking from the heart. We're trying to save life on Earth here. What more noble pursuit, right? And I don't see anyone else having their hand up. Bill, I'm going to mute your microphone because we're getting some background noise on your end there. That's okay, no problem, Bill. Anyway, I believe that, to put it very bluntly and in very simple terms, we're all screwed up. Humanity is screwed up. We're among the most sane people on the planet, but as a whole, we're just really screwed up. And it's not our fault. We're screwed up because we've been playing the wrong game, the game of hoarding, the game of competition. Is it any wonder we're killing each other and killing the planet, right? So I believe that once we start the benevolent dominoes tumbling, the dominoes of love all, feed all, provide people shelter, provide people healthcare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and cool the planet with marine cloud brightening, I believe we will undergo a spiritual transformation. I believe it's already happening. The fact that we're all here working together on a Friday night, having worked all day long on this, is evidence of the spiritual transformation that's underway. Before I pass the talking feather, I just want to mention that James put a cool link in the chat, Russell Brand talking about, what do you really need? What does it say here? You will own nothing and be happy. The Great Reset. So anyway, we could watch that at some point. I just wanted to mention that. And if James put that in the chat, it's because he's awake. Woo! Okay, passing the feather. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I wanted to say
Christopher,
that market dynamics, just to sort of add on to what Bill was talking about there, it seems likely from just the point of view of the market, we're talking about capitalism, that renewable power without anything exotic. And there's some exotic stuff coming down the pipeline, but just staying within standard framework of renewable solar power in its various forms and wind power. That stuff is getting cheaper than fossils. Fossils are going the way of the fossil. They're just, it's so 1890 to burn coal nuggets, and the assumption that we're going to keep doing that because that's what makes people wealthy. Well, it just isn't so anymore. Pretty soon it's going to be the case that everywhere solar is cheaper than fossil fuel. Wind's already a lot cheaper in a lot of places. And that's without government rebates. Especially solar is a technology, not a resource. So the price isn't based on supply and demand like coal, like natural gas, like oil, which are largely completely developed. Their price fluctuates based on, supply and demand essentially. Whereas solar's got this, I don't know if you describe it as logarithmic, but it's got this continually decreasing price point. And, it started out, it was cheaper in Hawaii. It made more sense to get solar panels than to burn fossils. And now there's many states all over the place, and it's just eventually it's going to be everywhere. So there's that thing to be hopeful of. Whether that's going to happen soon enough is another can of worms I'm not going to get into, but that's something that gets me excited. Thanks.
Okay, looks like I'm next. Aside from the fact that there's many more of us that are not rich, we're the majority, and there's, more of us that are becoming awakened to the fact that we don't need all the things that we thought we needed. We'll be happier with a simpler life as long as all our basic needs are met. And we have some new technologies that are going to change things that are coming in right now. There's two new battery technologies. One, it uses a nano powder that you can add to the batteries, that lithium ion type batteries that causes less expansion and shrinking to happen, so it'll give them longer life. Something like 12 million recharging cycles. And there's also a solid glass technology in batteries that's coming out that promises the same kind of lifetime, and they recharge like in eight minutes instead of 8 hours. These things are already in the works, just waiting to come into the production. So aside from all the negative things we can think about, the pissing off the uber rich, they're just going to become irrelevant as long as we all work together. As we start feeding all, loving all, those people all, instead of being in homeless, houseless, looked down upon, they'll become productive members of that love all, feed all system. They'll, once they have nourishment and they're not wanting, for just that basic, they'll be willing and able physically and mentally to help be part of the system that loves the rest and feeds the rest. It's all very beautiful and very possible, and we're making it happen now. We're here, we're making it happen. This isn't trying to change things. This is making the changes happen. And it's contagious. With that, I pass the talking feather.
I wanted to show everybody my smaller.
Hey,
version
Bill.
that Sorry.
I'm sorry for, no, I want you to talk. It's just that we can't hear you. There's something wrong with your microphone. Like your earphone is not connected to your arm bone. Something is wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I think that's better. Is that better for you, Marco?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better, much better. Thanks.
Okay, I wanted to show you my smaller version of the same charts that I was showing you the other day. I don't really have very much patience for people who do not believe what's happening is happening. So I'm not going to spend too much time with them. But this is the Keeling curve. So it's really simple. This is on UC San Diego. It shows that we're at 400, 417, 418. It's bounces up and down, but it's going obviously this way. So here we are here as human beings. Is this appropriate right now, Jamin?
Yeah, why not? Totally.
So here we are as human beings. And this is I just picked this up today. It's 8.5 by 11. Again, I had the dry eraser marker lamination put on it. So when I was talking to my cousin the other day, I said, I'm trying to get a presentation down, but I need something that's before I know what the Industrial Revolution is till now, kind of 1750 till now, but I don't really know what's happened since then. And he goes, oh, I'll show you the best way you can find that out. So we went to the UC San Diego website for Charles Keeling curve, the Keeling curve. And he goes, okay, how about this, Bill? He says, now we have maybe been around. Didn't have to do this with my big display. He said, just for starters, Bill, there is fires. They've carbon dated fires in caves going back 1 million years. Now, that's not us, that's our ancestors. It's possible that we've been around all the way since here, 500,000 years ago. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, he said, but definitely, this is the head of geology, the entire geology department. He said, definitely, we have been around since right here, human, Homo sapien. He says, right after this bump, we were good. So then we survived fine, going all the way down. So the line basically at the bottom of this right here, the average of that line is 170 ppm, parts per million CO2. The upper end of this line, on average, is 180. Pardon me, 280. 280. Okay. So when you're showing this to somebody and they're like, okay, well, yeah, so what? Okay, here's the start of the Industrial Revolution. And here we are now. Big problem. We were supposed to be dropping back down to an ice age, which we would have, but we didn't because we started burning coal and oil. So that's the hello, take your arguments and shove them you know where. So I was originally developing this for a venture capitalist who's retired. He's 90 years old right now, and his specialty was in the medical field. And his job was to find medical devices and he almost became a doctor. But then he backed up, and then he Dartmouth graduate, super bright guy. But I was going to show him a ECG. I said, so this is right here, the upper limits and the lower limits of a regular heartbeat. You guys got that? So on a graph, on a piece of paper, they should have actually done it
this way. What I wanted, then from here, I go, people do not do well on straight lines, flat lines showing what it's like when you die. Then corresponding that. Because when I was originally drawing this out, which I have over there actually for my cousin, he's like, no, because I drew the line out like this. He goes, no, it doesn't go like that, Bill. It goes, he says it's a couple percentage marks out, but it's like this. It's straight up. The Keeling curve is straight up. Now, that's the same type of science that tells you what the temperature is when you put a thermometer in it, as you're trying to figure out various elevations along whether or not the Nile goes north or south. They would just boil water with a thermometer in it, and it would tell them what the elevation is, or it would tell them if they're higher or lower, depending on where they're at. So anyways, that's the start of my presentation. But Yi, by the way, is Yi coming to that meeting down there? You told me, I thought you said he was coming.
To Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Was he invited?
I never heard that he was coming to Los Angeles. I think there's two different meetings that are in the works, and they're both huge. One is the one that James is organizing, that's focused on planetary overheating, planetary boundaries, et cetera. That's a Zoom meeting. The ones in Los Angeles are in person, and they're focused on food. Love all, feed all.
Okay, but who's Stefan Salter's coming to which one? The Zoom meeting?
Exactly. Yeah, the Zoom meeting.
Was he invited to that, by the way?
Absolutely. He
Did
not
he
only was he
decline?
invited. Yeah, go ahead.
Did he decline?
Well,
'Cause
not
I meeting with him on
he hasn't
Sunday.
responded to James. And 10 days ago, I sent him an email and said, hey, yeah, this is an important meeting. How you doing? Hope everything's great. And
Is he still invited?
of course he is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, can you send me something? Because I've got a Sunday meeting with the whole team. So send me something that I can maybe influence that meeting with, if that's okay.
Yeah. Let's let that. Yeah.
I know you're focused on sea cloud brightening, but if we can just do everything at once, that would be killing two birds with one stone. Bad analogy here. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Unless
Here, I'm going to send an email to you and James, and because it's James's meeting, so I'm taking direction from James on this one. But I'm sure James will respond to you. In fact, I'm not even sure if he's awake or asleep right now. 20 minutes ago, he posted something in the chat. But anyway, I'm connecting you two right now.
I'm actually asleep, but I'm running on a backup generator. So
Okay, the backup generator is running. Anyway, Bill is offering to talk with Ye on Sunday and say, hey, Ye, James is organizing this important meeting. Bill has a lot of pull with Ye. And so he's just offering to help encourage Ye to say yes to the meeting.
yeah. Well, I mean, as I said earlier tonight to Bill, I was surprised that I haven't heard back from Guy or Ye, to be honest, because they're both on the list, and they're still on the list. The doodle poll extends out till the 18th of February, so they still have time to acknowledge whether they want to attend the meeting or not. There's no problem there. They've received the emails and the doodle poll. If they are having difficulty with the doodle poll, all they have to do is email me back. I'm now down to, so they could actually ignore majority of the dates there. I'm down to the 15th, 16th and 18th of February now, which would be the best choices for the majority of people that responded so far. Shit, did I say all that in my sleep?
You said it all, and we are recording. Yeah. So, I'd love to jump in with a comment. So Bill, what you've shared with us about, oh, go ahead, BJ. Yeah.
I don't mind you going first, but I was going to talk about the chart that he showed, that Bill showed. So is that appropriate? Okay. Bill, yeah, thank you for showing that chart. I hadn't seen the numbers in a while, or at least where I was ready to hear them. The 750 ppm and the 280 ppm. So I'm really pleased that you showed that. Yeah, that was cool. The other thing that I think you may want to know about, or you may already know about, but is that chart can be put over William Rudiman's work. See, William Rudiman is an anthropologist. So he's got this book, and I'm still reading parts of it. It's called Plows, Plagues, and Petroleum, and I heard it from Dr. Rao. Got it from Dr. Rao, and he shows that animal agriculture has kept us from cooling. You know, not the it doesn't show the CO2, because animal agriculture isn't just CO2. It is the sequestration from the forests, right? And it's not just animal agriculture, it's also rice fields, and it's agriculture. But I think that will be very interesting to look into, and I put a link where Dr. Rao explains it in the video. It's one of the webinars that he gives on it. And he said that goes back, from when we started cutting down trees, when we started realizing, hey, I can hold this goat. I don't have to let it go. I can capture it and keep it. I can get all these goats over here. Oh, I can start making rice paddies and that sort of thing. And that started adding CO2 in when they started cutting and burning, and the burning and burning. So I don't see that reflected in the chart. It doesn't discount the chart. It just means there's another chart. And I don't know how to explain to put them together any more than I just did. I think you will, if you haven't already been fascinated by it, I think you will be. Okay, that was did you want to respond to that?
What you might be talking about is human extinction. Come on, where am I at? Right here. I mean, right here, going upward. Again, this is going back 200,000 years. So, I mean, just for fun, my cousin, who's been teaching baseline geology at a major private university for a long time, I had a roommate of mine who showed up to me, and who showed up when I was in my 20s, and she told me where she went to school at, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I think my cousin teaches there. And she's like, well, what's his name? And I told her, and she's like, oh my God. She goes, your cousin does an example of time that is amazing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she started telling me about the Scott's 1000 roll toilet paper. So he takes a 1000 Scott roll toilet paper, which is super thin. I mean, it's like the cheapest toilet paper you could possibly ever not want to have, right? And he puts it on some spindle, and he starts running around the room. And he goes, here's the Anthropocene, here's this scene, he's naming off all the various scenes from the very start of life. And he's running around with yards of toilet paper, wrapping all the students up. And then at the very end, he comes all the way back down. He takes one sheet and rips it off. Takes that sheet and he turns it into quarters. He takes that sheet and he turns it into more quarters. He takes that sheet and turns it into more quarters. And he holds it up and he says, this is how long humans have been on the earth.
Yeah, that's a good demonstration. That's a really powerful one. I'm sure it got their attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's-
stand up on top of the desk. He would stand up on top of the main desk that, you know, he's teaching behind as he was a student aide or something. He says, the reason why I'm standing up on this desk is you need to remember everything I'm telling you because it's going to be on the test. And he would do his whole presentation standing up on the desk. I mean, just great stuff. This guy's a
Oh
character.
man, yeah, that sounds wonderful. I'll show you. I'm just gonna go to the screen for just a second, if that's okay. I'm not gonna stay long. You won't be bored. You'll just see it, and some of you will recognize it. This is the chart that is explained from 20,000 years ago, when the Earth was heating up in normal cycles, and then 7,000 to 8,000 years ago is when we started the agriculture, and we would have started going back down, but instead agriculture started heating up the earth, and then the Industrial Revolution came right here, this B section. And what he proposes is that this agricultural section is actually larger. I mean, that part he feels strongly about is larger than the portion of the industrial ag. But anyway, that's his chart. And he says if we don't stop, then yeah, it's going to go up into the, you know, or if we stop after the fossil fuels are depleted, then it might start coming back down again. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you, that chart is explained in that thing. And I think it's a fascinating way to put some things together with what you're doing and the food stuff. Okay, that was my part.
Yeah, and Bill, if I could, I just want to give you some feedback, and for you and for the whole room. I started to detect some kind of frustration in your voice, like, look, you know, this is what's going on. Everyone in this room, I guarantee you, gets it. We understand how the CO2 has just gone off the charts in an extremely short period of time. And I think I probably speak for pretty much everyone here when I say, you know, listen, you know me, Bill. I am fanatic about SRM, right? I'm probably about as fanatic as you about SRM and the urgency to cool the planet, right? And I'm also fanatic about healing the whole of it. And I also see, you know, we're here groping. How do we save life on Earth? And indeed, the overheating is the number one thing. The house is on fire. There's nothing else to do but put out the fire, except in this case, there is something else to do, which is to stop the destruction of life beyond the overheating, right? There's really, you could separate all the world's problems into two groups right now: overheating and all the other problems, right? Okay.
I'll just say it this way: we could tackle the fire all day long, but until we sort out the fuck up with the matches, you know what I mean? They keep starting the fire. We're back to square one. We have to tackle the fire, the main problem, which is deal with the box of matches first, and which is lighting the fire. Or as you're saying, like the food, the industrial farming and everything else is a greater part of the mess we're in now. And it's still continuing. So even if we do reduce and save the Arctic, which is the essential thing to do now, which is the priority to do now, but even if we do achieve that, we still have to get rid of the box of matches, which was causing the problem in the first place.
Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
So I understand. I can't believe that Stephen Salter's work has been out for decades. Decades is like getting punched in the face a few times. But I don't know why I didn't hear about it. Why I just found out about this basically 4 years ago. So now we've got the solution that's been out for decades that could have been paid for with the security for COP, and everything. But anyways, maybe Mir can be a bridge. Anyways, I'm not a shipbuilder. I'm a builder. I'm a house builder. And so I'm doing what I can on that line, but maybe it can be a bridge.
Love it, Bill. Love it. We have to do what we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to sit at home and not do anything. I mean, because sometimes not sometimes, but a couple of times after I saw Don't Look Up, I thought, there are those people just sitting around going ahead and having a good time, and then they die. And I'm thinking, I guess I could start painting, doing some watercolor again, but no, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep doing this, even if it seems like it's a little bit, we have to do it.
I mean,
I wish there were more of us.
the reality is life is hanging on a thread. Life is on the edge of a knife right now. We are that thread. We are that thread. We and a few other groups like us that we're trying to connect with, right, with great urgency. And Bill, it makes me mad as hell too. I've been at this for the last, I can't believe how long it's been, 8 years of my life. I've been doing nothing else professionally but this. How do we save life on Earth?
So I mean, I've seen you stand next to Guy McPherson for years, right?
Oh yeah. No,
You guys were, I know you guys are not right now, but regardless, you were, and I didn't know that you were the promoter. Now I know.
yeah. I've flown Guy here, there, and everywhere on my nickel, put him up, got him in touch with other people, arranged meetings. I've been on this for years. So if you want to find somebody who's mad as hell and not going to take it anymore, you're looking at him, right? And and so we are groping for how do we do this? How do we do this? And just like you said, Mir is a bridge. Mir might be a bridge. I'm saying food healers might be a bridge, right? We need bridges. We need
both.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, I keep hearing you say, well, I'm just a builder. I'm just a builder. And nobody's asking you to do anything but be who you are. And that's your part. And that's enough. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're not just a builder. You're a builder. And that's a good thing.
And you may even be a speaker if you're going to give a talk.
And a builder with a conscience, it's a good thing. We appreciate you.
I'm happy to be employed by you. I mean that in jest. I'm happy to be part of this organization and also Mir, and it's good stuff. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, this is so much better than 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago when I had it was like this much of any. I knew I'd find you guys, but it was like this much. So anyways, it's cool.
And
It's
it's
fun.
not, sorry.
Sorry, it's cool. I don't mean it's fun, like I'm enjoying this ride, but it's nice to be engaged, and people are watching me, and they're watching. What's Bill gonna do next? I'm known in the Mir group is the disruptive interventionist, which is a government term almost. It means a hellraiser. But regardless, I'm enjoying the process, and I'm really thankful to have met, Jamin, yourself, Marco, also, and the whole gang. Really, really, really nice.
Well, I second what Marco said anyway, Bill, for that matter. And you know, you've only been with us a very, very short time, like a couple of weeks, and you've made a significant dent and impression on me anyway, and everybody else here, and contribution already in just a very short space of time. And you're so eager and to get out there and do as much more as you can, and I admire that as well. And you get up and go. And something I heard you mention once or twice there now in the last few times that we spoke over a couple of days. I heard you mention that you went through the, you know, all 5 stages of the grief, and you know, the hospice grief, and that that you were very, you know, you're over that now, and you're trying to find solutions and you know, help in what way you can, and I admire that as well. But I also would kind of express like an expression of to be a slight bit cautious of that assumption that you're over those 5 stages of grief, because I thought the very same thing myself almost 2 years ago, and it was only until near the end of 2020 there, coming to the end of 2019, that I kind of, when I was fully convinced I was over those 5 stages of grief at the time, and it was all, you know, getting well involved in this and everything else. But all of a sudden it just came in on top of me again. It got me again, and I actually, you know, the Jamin and the rest of them would tell you, I had to take a break from the block party for a couple of months and get my head together again and what have you, and refocus and everything else. So even though you may be feeling that you are, and then I can sense your frustration, and part of that frustration was happening with me as well, and I didn't realise it, that I actually wasn't over the 5 stages of grief. I actually went through a severe stage of depression then in the, you know, late winter and into the spring of, you know, that year, like. But I came through it because of the people that are here, because they're the only people that I have been able to sit down and have these conversations with on the level, you know, we're all on level pegging, and we're all of the same mindset, and it's a form of therapy in itself. And I had gone through the hospice, near-term human extinction hospice conversations with Peter Miller. He's a psychologist, and he was, you might remember some videos he done with Guy and Kevin Hester, and I did one of those with him as well, almost a year prior to that. So that's why I thought I'd gone through that. But, you know, I was wrong. It crept up on me and it caught me by surprise during that winter a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago. Point is, I can understand your frustration, but, you know, you're deeply involved now and everything else, and sometimes you can be so focused that you forget to pay attention to your own feelings as well sometimes. So be aware of it, because it could catch you by surprise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've all been here. You know, Shankar can probably remember early on in the block party, even before most of the people here were here. There was like one night I was just like, all right, everybody, we're running out of time. Everybody, I was just going crazy. I was like, get everybody in here, call all your friends right now. I mean, I was just, you know, Shankar, I don't know if you remember that moment, but I mean, we've all been there, right? And I just want to say, we are a miracle. The fact that there is the 8 of us right here, right now. Listen, for James, it's freaking 5 o'clock in the morning. He hasn't slept. And I've worked with James every day this last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, kept him up late every single night, right? We are a miracle. We are a miracle. I'm reminded of the Chinese communists in the Long March when they were pursued by the nationalists. I think this was before World War II, and they were just getting pummeled, all right? And they started off with like 105,000 of them, and they just got chased all over the country, right? And they finally ended up in some remote, dry, desert, cold region up near Mongolia, up in the far northwest. And from 105,000, they were down to just a little over 5,000. And Mao Zedong got everyone together, right, and said, all right, here's what our numbers are now. Look at what we've been through. It's been like almost 2 years, the Long March, right? People were just dropping like flies from hunger, from exposure, from disease, from attacks, right? And he said to them, now that there's just over 5,000 of us now, are we stronger or are we weaker than before, than when we started? He said, we are stronger. It's like panning through a bunch of mud to get to gold. The ones who are left are golden. And those 5,000 people ended up not only helping win World War II, they ultimately defeated the nationalists. And I'm not a fan of Mao Zedong by any stretch, but he said, but they ended up, controlling what is now the most populous and economically powerful country on earth, right? So, as Yoda said, judge me by my size, do you? Right? So, we may be few in number, but we are so damn strong. We are so strong. We are a miracle. And if we make it, it will be because of us and people like us. Dr. Silas Rao, the great vegans, et cetera, et cetera. We've got all these great alliances. We're building alliances. We're starting a revolution in Los Angeles. And that will bring in all kinds of wonderful people who have the right stuff, who've never heard of solar radiation management, right? And yet they will be very happy to hear about solar radiation management. Some of our biggest supporters are vegans who came in through the vegan channel and said, whoa, SRM, tell me more. And now they're huge supporters. So it is possible. We just got to persist. There was a commencement address that Winston Churchill gave after World War II was over. After the war was won, he goes up to give a commencement address. This is a true story. He stands up at the podium, looks at the audience, and he says, persist. And then he sits down. And that was his commencement address. That's us. Go ahead.
Sorry, everyone. Which was Churchill's speech that was on the radio that said, never surrender, never surrender, never surrender? That was different?
I think that was towards the beginning of World War II when they were getting pounded. We will defend our island, ... We will defend her on the shores, on the seas, in the air. That was early in the war. Yeah.
And just to be clear, from time to time, I keep hearing, it's like, how's it being said? Like, Team Mirror and Team Green Cloud Brightening. To be clear, before I was a part of this group, we supported Yatao. We continue to support Yatao. And as little as a few months ago, we asked, what do you need? And he said, I could use what do you call it? A
40-foot shipping container.
40-foot shipping container in New Hampshire. And I got on what do you call it? The internet. The internet and into the local listings there and found a couple places, gave him to Jamin. He followed up, got the container, got it sent out there. We continue to support his work. We've just followed through with what we've always said, bring us a better idea, something more efficient, something quicker, anything, and we'll look at it, vet it, and then that becomes first, the first thing. And by, all the standards, the efficiency, cost, and speed of implementation, marine cloud brightening is just tops right now. That's all there is to it. But there's many aspects. And me personally, I especially like the portion of the MIR project or MIR framework where they work with the deacidification of the ocean and those ovens to do that work, which also did produce some extra electricity. So, there's room for everything, but we have to go with the best first. And that's all there is to it. We've never said an unkind word about, MIR framework. It's so let's not let any of that, the competition or whatever it is, seep in.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in COP there in November, sure, I mean, Chairman went to his own expense as well to print out a lot of posters, both for the MCB and for the vegan movement, but also for the mirror reflection program as well. And they were all equal size, equal value, and made a very equal impact. So everything was being promoted there by Jim, and we were in contact with Ye over. We went to one of Ye's presentations over in Scotland as well, and we got to meet Paul Beckwith and a few others there as well at that time. So we've always been an advocate of the Mirror Reflection Project, and still are, because as I said, it's part of it as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean? It's an essential part of it. It's just that it won't even get to come into fruition unless we get the MCB out at this stage.
Well, seeing is that I'm going to be conducting these tests for the urban experiment in Redwood City, regardless of what's happening. That's going to happen starting in May, June. I hope the results from that will lift all the boats, all the SRM boats, BCM, all the SRM boats equally with the tide.
And that's the purpose of the meeting that James is putting together, is to lift all SRM to a place where it's seen by as much of the public as possible. This is not about any one thing. It's about each person having equal time to present their point of view and their project, to the best of their ability. And that includes people who don't even necessarily believe in SRM right now. So we're just bringing attention.
Exactly. This is to sway doubts, to form cohesion, and to work together.
Hadn't heard from you, Shankar.
Hey Vijay, hey everyone. Just very thoughtful, yeah.
All right.
Stand
Don't want to pressure you. Just like to hear your voice every now and then.
Sure, yeah. No, I'm working also parallel listening and.
All right. All right.
Yeah, whatever, seeing open with solutions, whatever way. Understand the problem, it's like Bill told. I think I missed something in the middle. I just came, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody understands the problem, and even somebody denies it at this point, it's not a problem because we're going to save them also.
Yeah,
we cannot save their belief, but we can save their existence.
Oh, right.
the right, Jamin? Like at this point, when the house is in the fire, I don't care whether you believe it or not. I'm a firefighter. I know my duty.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Funny you say that. Kevin Hester only said that recently, that he feels like it's like walking past the house and seeing the house on fire and shouting in fire, 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 and some idiot inside shouts out, keep the noise down and trying to watch the TV.
Yeah. Right. Mind your own business. Oh, goodness. Except that the house is really ours too.
You know, when you hear stuff like that, it makes me wonder a little bit, are we worth saving?
Yeah, yes. Well, those animals are. They're innocent in all this. Yeah. And so I have a couple of people in mind too that I was thinking about bringing to the meeting. They're definitely, pro climate change. So climate change, what I mean is they're with us on trying to stop it, or one of them may think that it's impossible anyway, and he's maybe at that state. So I'd like him to come, and he also knows people in politics that he might influence, but they would be very new at it, just like I was. And I'm wondering if Friday evenings is the best time to ask them to come in. If there is a good time to ask them to join, so that they can hear about SRM as well as our other feed all, love all, feed all.
Yeah, I think, there's a very different energy for the evening segment as from the morning segment, right?
Yeah.
By the evening segment, we've been at it for 12 hours, in my case, minus a 2-hour break in the late afternoon, early evening. But, it's earlier today, I kind of compared the 24-hour block party to kind of like a compressed Burning Man out in the desert, where I assume you know about Burning Man. Okay. And everyone tells you it kind of wears you down, it grinds you down, and then you kind of break through, and then you're on a higher plane sort of thing. For me, that's what the evenings are like. It's like Burning Man after you've broken through. The mornings are like Burning Man when you just get there.
That's a good one. Thanks.
And Franca, welcome back, sister.
Wow.
Thank you. I fell asleep.
That's excellent timing, Franca. I literally 10 seconds before you showed up was wondering when Franca's going to show back up.
Shut up. You're kidding me, right?
No, not at all.
Wow. Maybe your thought is the thing that brought me back to life.
Well, it worked one way or the other. Either you were thinking of waking up, you're thinking of coming back, and that clued me in, or my thinking clued you in. Either way, it works.
Chris has a journal where he keeps track of all the synchronicities he encounters. Chris, this would be another entry for you.
We're synchronistically playing relay, so Franca, if that's the case, because I woke about an hour ago, so I'm passing the baton to you now and going back to sleep.
Oh. Now, I was talking to Chris, and I'm not even sure that he's on, like, alive.
Chris,
that was you, James. Just
He was on screen just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, he's there. All right, he's probably gone to get coffee or something. Yeah, that was me, Franco. A failed attempt at humor in my exhausted state.
Uh, So if it's not too lame, can you repeat the joke for me? I'm a bit lame.
You were on about synchronicity, and I said we must be synchronistically. Oh God, I'm asleep. Playing. Oh, what did I say?
Yeah, you were just
Oh yeah, synchronistically playing relay because I said I woke an hour ago, so I'm going to pass the baton to you now.
Oh, I see. That's funny. The European sleeping beauties that get woken up by the kiss of a thought.
Does this ever happen? Has this happened to you where you recommended that somebody asked you if they could speak with and have him speak at your place, and you go yes, and so then the speaker, let's just say it's Jamin or Silas or somebody, I don't know, anybody that's a friend of yours, and then the person keeps writing back with more things that instead of just keeping it simple and saying let him speak what he wants to speak. Does anybody have that happen?
I
Okay.
didn't quite understand what you were saying.
Yeah, I guess it's probably best that you don't, because I just got an email about somebody writing, email after email after email. When some of it is on the website, and I don't know what my part is in helping out. It's not really a good topic for everybody. It's just what's happened to me just recently.
Tell them to slow down, maybe.
Yeah, slow down. Slow down. Look on the website.
Hey, Cesar is joining. Cesar, how you doing?
Hey, Cesar.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Awesome.
Check it
Like
out, Cesar.
background.
We've been having a really cool meeting up until now, but with you here, now it's perfect. Yeah, we've just been.
Yeah, everybody's doing well. Awesome.
We're 14 hours into a 24-hour collective intelligence block party.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, we are absolutely committed to transforming, healing, and saving life on Earth. It's the only game in town right now, but by some miracle, only a tiny fraction of humanity has woken up to that. And that's why we're co-creating the miracle of Los Angeles, the miracle of love all, feed all, to awaken arguably the greatest metropolis on earth to become the world's first compassionate metropolis, and to wake up Los Angelinos en masse to create basically the answer to the movie Don't Look Up. Have you've seen the movie, right, Cesar?
Oh yeah, we've been doing a lot with the plant-based treaty with that movie. I was actually filming a little skit earlier on the green screen. I played a news anchor. It should be coming out soon. So, but it's going to be exciting. Really, big things happening out here in Los Angeles. Can't wait till everybody, unites out here and really sets the stage for all the other metropolises and just put the good vibes out there and the good energy and love all, feed all. Let's do it.
Awesome. Bill, did you have your hand up or were you just waving? Okay, just waving. Cool.
Yes. So we had like the movie Don't Look Up, the comet's coming, but it's a steak comet. So it looks like a giant steak that's going to hit the earth, and it's really, we have the opportunity on our plates every day to prevent what's already happening here. Kind of like the pandemic. That was kind of, it's been here because people have been unhealthy, and continuing the unhealthy tradition throughout the different, generations. So, health is wealth. But yeah, we're excited. Can't wait, till everybody's out here in Los Angeles and just really come together. It's gonna be amazing. All the seeds have been getting planted, and now to see them start growing and blossoming, we're really excited and spreading the word out here.
Awesome. Yep.
Yes, so glad to be partnering with you. It's I think it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Bill. You just muted your microphone, Bill.
So Cesar, what is your background with this group, please?
That's a good question. So I come from, I've been plant-based, I've been vegan. It's coming up on 9 years in a month, about a month or so. So, it's the best thing that I ever did in my entire life. Really, saw some documentaries, really absorbed that knowledge, didn't want to go down the same path as, my relatives went, and realized that, I can reverse things and avoid so much and help heal myself to heal others. And really, we found that, because my mom and I went vegan at the same time, we found that year after year, the compassion just continues to grow, because you're taking in all, life, not death. So it really connects you more with the earth and with all beings. And it's so awesome. And then about 3 years ago, we went to Animal Rights Conference in Los Angeles and went to a pig vigil, and haven't stopped going back since, now organizing them out here in Los Angeles with Animal Alliance Network, part of the SAVE movement. And that's Aria in the background, vegan since birth, but you might have heard her yelling. So really, just want to spread the knowledge and empower everyone to, help themselves and help heal the planet and all the beings around them. So it's really just awesome. I could be tired from a long day, and I start sparking a conversation with somebody about veganism, and then all of a sudden this burst of energy comes, and it's just, it's so awesome. So we're excited. We've been working with plant-based treaty, food healers, climate healers, and we're really excited to just, continue the vision out here and to, continue to blossom. So yeah, we're very excited. Yeah.
Very great to hear. Thank you for that. That was really awesome. And that's a great background. And yeah, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I just want to kind of tie in two things, right? Veganism, love all, feed all, right? Which is really two things in one, right? Veganism is, hey, no more killing, no more animal agriculture. And then love all, feed all is feed everybody, right? We're putting those two things together, right? And so love all, feed all and solar radiation management are two like really different things. Or are they? Right? Because both are fundamentally about promoting life. We're coming at life from three totally different angles and putting them together. And I maintain there is not only nothing wrong with that, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that's right about that. Among other things, consider solar radiation management. That's like C3PO. Now, I love C3PO. He saved everybody's butts from the trash compactor. Remember? He shut down all the trash compactors on the detention level. Shut down all the trash compactors on the detention level. He saved everybody's butts. Now, is he sexy? No. Princess Leia, sexy. Han Solo, sexy. C3PO, not sexy. Okay, so we're bringing in the non-sexy C3PO of solar radiation management and combining it with the super sexy love all, feed all. It takes a village to blow up the Death Star and save the planet. We are that village. I rest my case, passing the feather. Because with love all, feed all, we're bringing back sexy, and we're creating a mass popular movement in Los Angeles. And with all these great people coming in from Los Angeles and then spreading it throughout the world, suddenly you're going to have millions and tens of millions of people saying, yeah, love all, feed all, right? And if even only 1% of those gets the message about solar radiation management and says, wow, that's important too, we will have orders of magnitude more people working on SRM than we have right now. And that's a very good thing. Passing the feather. And Cesar, I'm just going to let you in on what's going on here. And we are recording because we need to share this with the world. We can pause recording anytime. Just do this if you want to pause recording. Everybody knows the policy here. And nothing wrong with pausing. It's never a problem. But there's a lot of people here who are just fanatical about solar radiation management and are just learning about love all, feed all. And it's like, huh? So, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings, where these different, groups are coming together, the dwarves with the hobbits, with the gnomes, with the humans, with the elves, with the, and we're figuring out how to get it all together. That's what's going on here, among other things.
And it's really, we're sourcing straight to the energy, because where do the plants get all the energy from the solar, from the sun, right? So, you're eating the vibrant life, going direct. It's like going to the car lot. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the fleet manager and get it going straight to the, straight to the source, straight to the first stream of water, and getting all that great energy, not having to go through a being and then having it with the not as vibrant energy, because when you're eating plants, I tell people, I got to say, when I first did it, I felt like high school instantly. My only problem was that I had so much energy, I didn't know what to do with it. And that's not really a bad problem to have. So, it's very vibrant and full of life, and it just makes you shine. It's amazing. So when you get to spread it with others, it's just the best thing ever. And that's why I love all, feed all, with the amazing stew bowls. It's amazing. Marco, that background though, I love that background. Oh, wow. I didn't even see the whole part of it. Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
collect those backgrounds. And when I see something cool on the internet anywhere, I take a screenshot and add it to my background collection.
That one's awesome. It's like a key portal.
Yep.
Wow.
Run through a few of them real quick here. Yeah, try and have something to match what we're doing. I forgot we were in food healers, so there's my food healers background.
Yeah, it's weird. Part of me just wants, I just kind of want to address Bill, since Bill is relatively new here. He's new here in terms of weeks, but not in terms of hours. In terms of hours, he's put in long hours, right? And yeah. And Bill, I just want you to know, part of me just wants to do nothing but scream SRM, 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 SRM until I'm blue in the face and do nothing else. Right? And part of me just wants to feed people. And part of me just wants to say, stop the killing, stop the killing, stop the killing, stop the killing. So we all kind of have to find our own balance, right? We all have to find our own balance. And then as a community, we need to find a balance. And that's what we're doing here. And it's hard work and it's beautiful work. And there's nothing I'd rather do. It's the only game in town. Go ahead, Bill.
So, I mean, the problem with me is that I know what I know, and I know we're recording. So the SH blank T storm that's coming. And I've got a really good imagination because I have been a hunter fisherman for a long time. So I know what's coming, and it's not going to be pleasant. So again, what we were talking about today at the Club of Rome of Canada was to invert the message to not I don't want to say waste our time, but pretty much waste our time with the upper echelons of society, but to go down low, starting with something as basic as the PTA of a high school or a kindergarten through, sixth grade. Start with the PTA, say this is what we know and this is what's happening. Then I've got developers. I work with developers and people who own properties, and they know mayors of various cities. I'm locally here on the peninsula. It's the bio capital, biomedical capital of the world right here. And I'm going to go grassroots on this and get FaceTime with people and show them my props and just keep on going. But I think that parents are coveting their kids, and they need to realize that, and they're assuming that everything's okay up top, but it's not, and they don't know that. And so I hate to say I'm going to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just going to be the bearer of news. You watch news every night, and this is news that they're not hearing, and I'm not afraid to share that news.
Yeah,
Want me to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
more or something, or anyways, I mean, I can think of all sorts of things. How about this? I'll tell you a little story. Everybody wants to hear a story. We got a little time to kill. So my best friend's dad, who made me the builder I am today, because he taught me how to do this. So how you do this is you become mechanical, and it's really essential that you learn how to do this, meaning turn a wrench, when you're in an impressionable age. It's like between 12 and maybe 17. It's really important. Those are the years that what happens is that when you learn how to turn a wrench and you learn how to pull and you learn what happens with the mechanics within that aspect, your brain registers as you start breaking off bolts because you've got too much muscle or something stupid. You learn that you learn how to do that well. And so then all of a sudden you start thinking about everything mechanically. So anyways, I've got this just beautiful, very mechanical niece of mine. She makes things and she's awesome. She did a couple years at UC. Now she's down at UCSB. So I'm friends with all these mechanical people, and they're the kind of the best of the best. I don't mean to say that they're the best of the best, but you get my drift. They're good. Some are really good at hiring and finding the very most inexpensive talent, and then all that talent rises up through their companies, and then they get fostered out through all these other companies because he is cheap. There's a limit to the amount you can make there, but because he fosters and finds these awesome mechanical kids and then brings them up through the ranks, they're flushed out over this entire environment of different shops. I'm talking about high-end, transmission shops, and these kids can do anything. And now they're young adults, and now they're homeowners. So what was my point? Anyways, I'm surrounded by all these great mechanical people. It all starts out with bikes, it starts out with turning wrenches, and it's really exciting. And so what I was telling you earlier is that if my best friend's dad had a Porsche shop, I would have grown up driving a Porsche. If he had a Mustang shop, I would have definitely fixed up a Mustang. My best friend's shop happened to have a Volvo shop. So what we did is we took whatever the best Volvo we could find and make it go fast. And we did it pretty well, and we had a good time with it. And it wasn't the best car to do it with, but anyways, we were doing it with old cars. So then recently, my friend Lupe, who owns the mechanic shop that brings up all these kids, he said, "Oh, by the way, I found another car." And I don't know that this is going to be I don't think this is a donor car, because we were trying to find a donor car to fix an old car. I think this might be restorable. So then all of a sudden we start pondering back and forth. I shoot out a text. He says, I haven't heard back from you. I was going to say it's $2,000, but if you guys want it, have 15. This is a restorable car. So then I start talking to my niece, who is super mechanical. She's a geology major at University of Santa Barbara, and I started hounding her mom, like, do you guys want this car? Because I don't want to see this thing go. And the next thing I know, I'm like, why don't I just talk to Ellen? So then I shoot a text to Ellen. Ellen's like, I'm totally interested. Anyways, it looks like we're going to get the car, and it's going to be like for $1,500, and it's worth a lot more. But so I'm just having fun. I want people to engage in life right now as much as they can, and that's my kids, that's my nieces, that's my nephews. I am just promoting life. And I don't know much about other things, but I know about putting cars together and having fun. Not to say that we don't need to stop driving cars, I know, but this is a pretty fuel efficient car. I want to share one badass picture of my best friend, who's now my best friend's dad's car that I was able to acquire. And you guys won't even know what it is. It's hilarious. So is that okay if I do that, Jamin?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Here's the bad boy. It says only the host can share on this meeting, so you're gonna have to make her the host or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, well, here, let me fix that. Oh, actually, who's hosting? Marco, you want to make?
I got him.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, I forgot you had logged out and logged back in, Bill.
Sorry. Here she is. That's a PV 62 PV 544.
Wow.
On the cross race prepared car.
Now, when was it that y'all did all this work on this car?
So this was my best friend's dad's car, who owned the Volvo shop that I learned how to work on cars. This was his personal car. He ended up I don't think he's passed yet, but he's got major dementia. And anyways, we found a perfect barn find car that's this exact same car for my very mechanical niece. And I'm known again as the disruptive interventionalist within the other group, and I'm going to make this happen because my best friend knows this car like literally the back of his hand. He knows everything about the car. This is one of the nicest driving cars. If you're just jumping in, if you know how to drive a manual, you just drive it, and the stock version of this drives really nice. This is kind of a monster, but a good monster. It's a good little monster. Meaning it weighs about 2,000 pounds. It's perfect power to weight ratio. It's got a, bored out and stroked, not stroked. This one has a bored out 2-liter. It's basically a tractor engine, but it's a good runner. I mean, if you like to drive, if you're into driving, I'm into driving. So it's fun for Bill. Yeah.
Looks really well balanced.
Yeah, and it's got lines like a woman. I hope that was not too PC, but regardless, that's the best way I can describe that silly little car. And I happen to like women. Or whatever. That's how I roll.
Awesome.
Anyways, I'm gonna have that car probably here when you show up, when we're rolling through. Just so it's just a silliness. But anyways, being mechanical. So I'll tell you another story. So there were 3 engineers. They all got together. This is back in the 60s. They're all good guys, and sorry.
Oh, BJ, you saying goodnight?
Yeah, I'm saying good night.
All right, great to see you,
Nice to
BJ
be with y'all.
sister.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. All
You
right,
bet. Bye-bye.
we'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
BJ.
Have a great weekend.
They got 3 engineers. They all went to a university. They were in frats together, whatever. And then they got out. They had a company. It was running for like years and years and years. Everything's successful. And all of a sudden things started falling apart. They're like, what's going on? And they're like, what is happening with all these new engineers that are coming into our company? And they figured out that all of these 3 engineers did this when they grew up. They wrenched on their own cars. And then they started asking some questions. So then they started figuring out some interview questions that they wanted to know. Like, did you buy and work on a car, or do you have any mechanical? Do you have they figure out these tricky questions to find out if these kids coming through were just given a car that they could go this to. I was really lucky. My son almost convinced me to do this to him. Give him a car that he could just do this. Well, I mean, in a perfect world, you just push a button, it'd be electric. And he actually initially came to me and he said, I wanted an electric hybrid. Then he figured out with the ones that were available, he couldn't get to his Nana's house. He says, that's not going to do. This is going back, a year and a half. The ones now can, but regardless, regarding mechanical, I'm just saying, if you know anybody who is, they could still be a brain scientist, they could still be a brain surgeon, but to do this when you're a boy or a girl, when you're between the ages of 12 and 16, does something here, and they figured it out that they can't put the wheels and the cogs together the same if they didn't do this growing up. My dad always used to tell me that. He says people who are mechanical, it doesn't matter if you're a mechanic or if you're a plumber or if you're a carpenter, as long as you did do this, you turn the wrench. So what I'm emphasizing to this group is that the people that do this will understand the words that are coming out of my mouth more so than the white collar blue tie people can, because I can explain it to them so they know what to do. And then on top of that, regarding mirror, I can show them how to implement it. That's why I was expressing myself so strongly to Roger Hallam, who I've got relationships outside of XR, just because I like him. And I was saying, this is because he's got earth in his fingers, and this is what we can do together as Brother Blue to go to get this job done. And it's easy. It's so simple, stupid simple. Piss Bill Dillon off. Stupid simple. Stupid simple stuff, man. Get people, you got to stop thinking and start doing. It just pisses me the hell off. That's okay. I'll keep on keeping on. But I'm about ready to get under enough people's nails who are just sitting on their hands like this, sitting right on their hands, not doing and these are very, very, very the most mechanical people. I know people who have shops that have so many talented people, and they're just looking for direction. They're looking for somebody to believe in. They're looking for, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just sitting down watching and, having kids. And what are you talking about? Who are you? I am me, and I know what I know, and I know how to get it done. I don't know how to build a ship. I know how to implement mirrors. We're going to do all of the above. We're going to do all the above. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me or anybody else. I don't know. I can't talk about anybody else. All I care about is I don't care about what anybody thinks of me, if they think I'm being ridiculous or anything else. I know more than them, and my goal is to know so much more than them that they cannot even founder an argument that will even faze me. I don't have any patience for people that don't understand this. And that's okay. Anyways, fun journey.
Yeah, as we're sharing stories here, what I'm seeing is there is such a diversity of talent here, right? See, you talk about all this really cool mechanical stuff. And my dad, who passed away a few years ago after living a good long life, no regrets, he was the most brilliant mechanical engineer I'd ever known. Just amazing. And when I was in high school, he really encouraged me to do what I wanted to do. And I was more into the math and the physics and stuff that was related to mechanical engineering, but, kind of more on the theoretical side. And when I was in high school, my dad retired kind of early, and he got really into, political stuff, local politics, local movements, and just stuff that needed to be fixed on kind of a larger scale than mechanical stuff. More like civil engineering, politics, land use. Like they wanted to build a big casino in Albany on the Albany waterfront. And my dad was very opposed to that, and he actually stopped it. And when he first went against the mafia that was trying to build that casino, he was the only one opposing them. Anyway, long story short, I helped my dad edit his letters to the editor, letters to city council, letters to city attorney, you name it. I helped him edit those letters. And so I developed kind of as this weird hybrid of, mathematician, physicist, computer scientist, and political activist / get it done in the realm of politics, city politics, local politics, etc. And anyway, I'm just sharing a bit about where I come from, since you've shared some really cool stuff about where you come from, Bill. We all come from different places in life. And as Pele said about the Brazilian national team after their great run when they won 3 World Cups out of 4 in a row, just incredible. He said, it's our differences that make us beautiful, right? And so if there's something mechanical that needs to be done, I'm going to defer to you, Bill, you and company, right? And if we need to go to Glasgow and promote marine cloud brightening, count me in, you know what I mean? Or go to California and start up Love All, Feed All, count me in, right? And so it's our differences that make us beautiful and that give us tremendous breadth and therefore strength, right? All of us working together, my goodness, there's nothing we can't do. Now, it just so happens that what we're up to is saving life on Earth. And I say, bring it. Bring the challenge. We're up for it. We can do it. All of us together. And every Friday is our 24-hour board meeting. And guess what? It takes 24 hours because people come and go, and we need to hear people's stories, and we need to hear people sharing, and we need to get to know each other and figure out what we can do and co-create it. Yeah, we're up to really big stuff here. Passing the feather.
So initially, I thought the 24-hour thing was too much. But then certain things started to happen during those 24 hours that I would tune back in and go back out, tune back in, go back out. And I started to think about more so marketing ideas. And, you know, there's a lot of super high quality emotions that get expressed on this channel that are almost overwhelming because they're so beautifully from the heart. And you know, they're kind of dispersed evenly. It's not like it only happens in this hour or that hour. But what's cool is that, you don't have to be, it's not like you're sitting there staring the whole time at this entire thing. But while it's going on, various things start happening, and all of a sudden you start to feel something that's important is going on. And then you can refocus and take it in. There were a couple times today where I just had to literally pull over and just look at what was happening. And I was taking down notes, and things were going on, electricity was going on in my brain, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. And here's the weird thing. There's no playbook for this. There's no playbook for landing on a planet with a ostensibly really bright species that has all this incredible technology and Volvo cars and computers and amazing communication infrastructure that also happens to be on a really bad groove, a really bad track in terms of the game that we're playing, a game of hyper individualism, hoarding, et cetera, colonialism, et cetera, right? Where the vast majority are deeply deluded, deeply addicted, right? Heads way up their butts, sitting on their hands, right? And then a bunch of us come together and say, hey, we can fix this, right? There's no playbook for that, which is why we need the 24-hour board meetings. I mean, what else are we going to do? Not get together and talk about this? And also, there's something magical about putting in the long hours, right? Because we all get to know each other, get to understand each other, get to express ourselves, right? And take our time about it, right? We've all been in meetings that are just a 1 hour meeting. We've got 1 hour, and you know what? They're a complete waste of time. Nothing gets done because you spend the first 20 minutes, saying hello and, getting started. And you spend the last 20 minutes figuring out whatever the action items are going to be and when we're going to meet next and all that. And you have 20 minutes to get real work done. That's nothing, right? So we're kind of taking the opposite approach here and saying, all right, once a week, we're going to get together and dig in deep and figure this thing out. And then again on Tuesday, we do it, but for fewer hours, right? So one medium-sized meeting, medium-large, really, one large-size meeting, that's Tuesday, and one triple XL, and that's Friday. And, here we are. And it's working. Is it frustrating at times? Yes. Do we want it to go 100 times faster? Yes. What else are we going to do other than what we're doing? I don't know. I'm open to ideas. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I need to find out what button I push that makes my entire screen revert back to, I don't know which button I'm pushing. Anyways. But yeah, I'm all about collective intelligence. And by the way, this is pork chop.
Pork chop, pork chop, pork chop.
And, yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to compete with Paul Beckwith, but regardless, I've got a couple of cats because my kids wanted a couple of cats. Back when my kids were like, like 7 years old, I'm like, okay, my kids want cats. I got to get cats. Regardless, now my kids are up and gone, but yeah, collective intelligence, I think it's working. And one thing that gave me a little pause was, I'm like, how long have you guys been around for? And, why is this so small? Where's this going? And, but that doesn't matter. What matters is where we're at now. And I'm an offshoot from Mir, helping them out with marketing. I want to save my kids. I want to save, I completely, am very bullish about Tammy's comments regarding, well, what the hell's going on here? We're gonna live longer than our kids. This is ridiculous. And she started using some proper French words to explain her frustrations with that as she's riding her bike. I'm looking at her, I'm like, what are you doing? Am I supposed to do that? She's riding a bike. How cool is that? So, I mean, you kind of figure it out as you go. But everything that's being expressed here is really important. And it's even more important for me to figure out whatever, in addition to all the great conversations that are going on here. Hopefully I can come up with something that's just that people will see, that they'll just be like, oh my God, that's it. I mean, that's my marketing goal, just to be able to figure out how to communicate with people through marketing and whatever else I do, in addition to talking to them and showing them what's up without freaking them the hell out. I've watched some of Guy McPherson's videos, and it's like, holy shit, that's not marketable because it's just too extreme, but it's also probably true. And I know the truth because I know what's true about, I know the truth about the worst case scenarios because I can imagine them. And, it's not even imaginable. So, I mean, if the PTA knew what was on the line, they might care a little more about what's happening with the environment than they do about, not more than a 2-year-old kid that happened to be walking in the middle of the street, but how about this, as much? They would care about this as much as that they think that's so important, but this is as important. And I can put a face value on that. I can sell that. I can speak honestly, and I can just sell it. And if they look at me and they say, but that's not what they say on the news, I'm like, I can just say, well, I'm telling you that the temperature that water boils is this, and this is what's happening. So either I'm lying to you or I'm an honest person. Look at the testimonials on my website. They're all from scientists and doctors that are like saying Bill's smart and honest. I mean, what I don't need my website to say anything more than that. Apparently I'm smarter and more honest. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm not frustrated. I'm getting beyond frustrated with it because I guess I understand it, because they're just in the place that they're in. They're just comfortable. They're like, our lives are fine. What's your problem? I'm like, yeah, my problem is what's coming. And what's coming are people walking up your driveway and eating the flesh off of your bones. Sorry, that might have been too extreme, but that's what's coming.
No, it's not. It's not too extreme. It's not too extreme for me.
Yeah, they're gonna cut your hands and your feet off because it looks too much like a human being, and they're gonna eat the flesh off of your bones. That's what's happening. Ted Turner said it 11 years ago. Ted Turner knows what's going on because he can afford to hire the people to tell him what's going on. He didn't figure that out. He's like, what the fuck's going on? So anyways, but in the meantime, I'm having a little bit of fun. You know, you know, what are you gonna do? You gotta juggle chainsaws. You're juggling chainsaws and chickens. Try not to hurt anything in the meantime. You know, you just gotta live your life and you know, and do your best. But I think I know how to wake some people up, and so I'm trying to figure out how to do that, and not have people think anything more of me than I care. That guy cares more about my kids than I do, and not to make them feel guilty about that either. Just that this guy is trying. My contractor for him knows that I am trying my best. I can see it in their eyes. I mean, I can see people walking up to me. People are walking up to me in my car and they're looking at me like this. They're saying, that's that guy. So, I mean, I would really propose that you guys put what I already showed you guys. I can make it all, I'll pay for it. Put this on the back of your car, something like.
You know, something occurred to me, Bill, if I'm not interrupting you.
Yeah.
All right. So check this out. I'm a big believer in taking successes and amplifying them. And you're putting stuff on the back of your car is a success. That's what I'm hearing. And since you're so plugged in with the mechanical world, the world of, you know, I'll just call it bending metal, you know, sanding metal, putting it together, making it work. Okay. Here's what occurs to me, Bill. Just a crazy thought out there. In fact, I'll go ahead and sketch a picture of it, assuming my iPad's properly connected here, which it is. Okay, here goes. Yeah,
Blue collar.
Yeah. This is some, you know, this is some badass blue collar shit that I'm about to put on here. So here goes. So here's your car. I don't know what kind of car it is. It doesn't matter. But here it is. Okay. What if you put, wait, what's on my screen here? Let me close that. Okay. You see the picture of the car, right? What if you put on top of the car the shiniest, absolute shiniest stainless steel high grade dome, and it was shiny as shiny can be, right? I guarantee you pull over at a gas station or supermarket, people are gonna say, what the hell is that? And all it is shiny, polished stainless steel. Impeccable. If people are looking at your back window where everybody's got a bumper sticker, everybody's got something, and they're looking at yours and they're taking note. See, that's success. I'm saying let's amplify it. The best way to amplify it is to do a dimensional enhancement, make it 3D, and people will say, what's that? and you say, I'm prototyping solar radiation management. You want to know what that is? It's the most important thing you've never heard of. It's the most important. And boom, with that, people are going to be taking pictures. Did you see that guy? Did you see that guy? Yeah, I saw that guy. What the hell is that? What's he got in his car? What is he, like a Russian spy? What's he about to do? Like blow up the Golden Gate Bridge? People are going to start to wonder. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
I get it. I'll think about that. And yeah, I mean, I see how you work. You're like, if that's a bullseye, this is the amplified bullseye.
Exactly. You know,
I'm just trying to figure out a way to possibly do it, Jamin, and not scare the shit out of all these new parents. I've watched people walk into a store that I was just engaged with buying some high-end wool undergarments, and I know all these people. I've known the owners of this place for like 40 years, and I'm just shooting the breeze with these guys. And as I'm sitting there just shooting the breeze with them, I just saw this couple walk in, and I saw they had a newborn, and they started staring at me, not staring at me like that guy's evil, but staring at me like that guy owns that car out front that's got that message in the back that they Googled before they walked into the store. And I look it over them, and I'm looking over this whole, it's like a storybook that's occurring right before my eyes. And I'm like, that sucks, because they probably would have really appreciated that information before. It doesn't matter. I mean, you got to remember life. I mean, would that baby not want to have been born? Are they not going to enjoy? I mean, what I'm worrying about is the trouble that's coming. I know I know trouble because I create trouble because I kill things. I'm a hunter fisherman. I don't kill a shitload, a crap load of things, but I create turmoil within other animals. So the trouble that's coming our way, I know, because I do that to things. So I know what's pointed our way, and it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. It's literally hell on earth. So I mean, I know in my mind's eye how to process what's coming before I knew that there would be this 4-letter word that might be creeping back into my life, which is HOPE. And that's confusing. I'm dealing with it, and we're just gonna do what we can. But I still think we're gonna be the dog jumping halfway to the bone, and we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do. I still don't get why multimillionaires look at me and say, wow, you're doing that for humanitarian aid and not yourself. I'm just like, yeah, man. Yeah. It's the same thing that beautiful Tammy said earlier, which is, I mean, all these people are running around and, caring about other things more than just, the environment. And that's not actually her quote that I was trying to quote. She was quoting that we're going to outlive myself. I'm 55. My daughter's 20. She's twice as smart as both of her parents. Twice as smart. My son is mechanical. He's got a lot of potential too. We're going to outlive them. And you're sitting around watching sitcoms. I mean, watch some good dark humor or gallows humor or something, like the poor guys that were fighting the trench wars in World War I. But, don't talk to me about, watching The Big Bang Theory. And I know everybody needs, some letdown. I have my letdown too. We all have the tools that we use to relax or whatever. But this is an again an all hands on deck moment, and I still think people are going to wake up. It's going to be probably too late, but they'll wake up. Hopefully we'll get some traction. I actually haven't posted recently on my contractors forum because I kind of went a little too extreme, and now I'm just gonna try to gather it back in. Again, the best thing we can do as people who have processed this is, and I really respect what James said earlier, that you think you might have processed it, but you maybe haven't entirely. And a friend of mine told me that same message also right when I got my divorce. I'm like, I'm happy. I should be happy. But then it wasn't the best decision for myself and my ex, who I've actually introduced Jamin to. She's a super capable, great gal. But we just butted heads like there was no tomorrow. And we were just bulldogs. I mean, we're just, we couldn't figure it out. We had everything going for us. We couldn't figure it out. We had the best timing, the best real estate purchases. We still couldn't figure it out. But I mean, you just, now we have figured it out. But you just keep on living on and do no harm to other people. But I mean, I love to shoot guns. I'm like one of these gun guys. And then all my friends started telling me, we got to do this. You don't even own a gun. So I bought a gun. My daughter was a police cadet. So I thought it'd be fun if we all started shooting, just to do a family outing. Cause we sold the ranch, so we don't have a ranch anymore. We started fishing. So then we started doing that. And then my daughter figured it out, and I figured it out because I'm ambidextrous, because I can do, I can unscrew bolts. And I figured it out that my left eye dominant, left eye. Then I started shooting in a shooting club, which is a steel club. And then I went and started shooting with all my friends that have got, 20 guns, pistols. That couldn't even hit the paper. The paper is big as me. It's a big piece of paper. We're shooting, they couldn't hit the paper. And I'm like, you guys are just killing me. And all these experts that I keep on reverting back to are not experts. They're talkers. And it's frustrating. You get to know something, and you get some, it's the same thing I'm trying to do with Roger Hallam. I'm like, you got earth in your hands. I got sawdust on my shoulder. This is going to be the same type of movement. We need to go forward, and it's going to be the blue collars are going to get it done. Whether it's the blue collars that are in the shipyards, you guys know. I can explain to you what's happening. We need to do it. Okay, I'm done. I've been babbling.
Yeah, I'm really digging the Silver Dome. What actually made me think of it is, those big stainless steel bowls that last forever, and they're just lightweight and strong, and you just big salads and stuff. So 31 years ago, I was working for Bechtel in San Francisco, summer job. I was still in college at UC Berkeley, and I was working for Bechtel, and we had our big summer picnic. And I volunteered to make a bunch of chocolate chip cookies. Delicious, with walnuts and oats, just the bomba. So I made a huge batch, loaded them up in a big backpack, and I wanted to have the nice stainless steel bowl. And I was going to the picnic on my bicycle. I went everywhere on my bicycle in those days. So I took the big stainless steel bowl, and I took one of those big glorified compression, thing, and I just pinched it to the top of my damn backpack, and I said, screw it. And I'm riding around, and I pull over to meet my friend up in the Berkeley Hills area, one of those frou-frou, gourmet ghettos. And so I'm chilling, waiting for my friend to show up with his girlfriend on their bikes so we can all go together to the picnic. And there are these people across the street and they're looking, they're like, hey, what's that? These primates pay attention when they see a big shiny dome. Put that on your car. Oh my God. People are going to be speculating that you're communicating with aliens. People are going to be speculating that you're a Russian spy working for Putin. People are going to be speculating that you're crazy. Yeah, you know, you want to blow this up. And I know the San Francisco Peninsula. Bill, I know where you live. I know where you live. And I know the people there, and they're bored as fuck. They're bored out of their minds. They got too much money, too much privilege. They got nothing to do. But if they're talking about the Big Bang Theory, they're bored. Give them something to talk about. Put a shiny dome on the roof of your car. And they'll say, what's up with it? It's very simple. I'm reflecting sunlight back into space. No matter where the sun hits, it's going to, oh, really? Duh. You know, and then they'll be talking about it. It'll work.
I like it. I like it. It's your idea. I'm going to think about it, try to deploy it, and I will let you know. I'm going to sleep on that one. And you know, I'm all in.
And this, in a nutshell, is how we're saving life on Earth. In the midst of insane craziness, delusion, addiction, competition, stupidity, boredom, privilege. I know where you live, Bill, and I'm telling you, the rich folks on the peninsula are bored out of their asses.
Everybody's seen the back of my car, right?
I've seen the image that you've shown. I'm not sure if oh, yeah.
So this is what I came up recently, which deals with solar radiation management. And on the left, so as you read it left to right, which would be kind of the more important one. Well, they're both important, but there's Dr. Salter, University of Edinburgh. Then it talks about SRM, and here's my gang that I work with. And they're a bunch of smart people also. And there's my Pelican with underneath that Extending Nature's Glide.
Yeah, see, that combines beautifully with the dome, because they'll see the dome, they'll say, what the hell is that? And then they'll really read what the heck is on the back of your car, because they really want to know. What's up with the dude with the dome?
I get it. I'm thinking about it already.
I mean, just think shiny to the max. The kind of thing you're going to polish a couple times a week.
Yeah, like my dome.
I'm thinking how I can do that in glass, like silica-based glass mirror. And I don't know if I can make a mirror like that, because that would be the bomb. But regardless, yeah, your eye is for marketing is more extreme than mine. So it's just something I need to hear and then develop. I mean, you know, if you look at Geico and their marketing, I mean, they've got everything from, I mean, they've got like, you know, maybe 6 different venues, and you wouldn't even know they're the same platform, but they're all for Geico. Allstate's the same way. You know, they got the crazy guy with the splints and everything, and he's going crazy on the side of the road, distracting drivers, and they're running in the back of things. You got farmers that have got that guy that's on, you know, it's pointing out these, you know, various animals that cause distractions with drivers or run into their cars, or So I mean, you know, it's fun for me to think about marketing. I mean, but what I want to do, I think the best thing to do is to try to come up with all these great solutions. And then you just walk into a PTA board and just say, hey, you know, I'm the guy that you would trust to install or remodel your whole entire home, to not rip you off, to install everything properly. I don't need an inspector looking over my shoulder because I'm going to do it better than he even knows how to do it, because I'm older and wiser and I've got I'm conscientious, just like my grandfather was. And this is something else you should look at. You know, you're very careful with your kids, and we all are careful with our kids because they're our prodigy, they're our life. And so what's happening right now is all of this. So you don't have to focus necessarily on what's going on with what's happening with global warming, except for it is happening. And these are the two things that I have found as protectors of all of my clients and my family. These are the two things that the most honest person who has walked through these doors every single day, I'm just saying, I'm just a very honest person that will recommend that you should look at, and it'll fix everything and it'll all go away. It's not necessarily all going to go away. There are other problems, but this is our first step. We can do this. PTA, parents, teachers, administrative, you know, mayors. I mean, this is what we can do to get to the next level. There's a 2-year-old kid sitting in the street. All parents will run to it. They need to run to my recommendation, because I can see it and you can't. And it's just because you're not wearing your glasses and I am, because my job is to protect you. You're not in that field. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. It's just black and white. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That's right. Hey, did I show you a clip of me as Darth Vader protesting against the drug cartels? I think I did, right? Okay. No, you haven't seen it? Okay, here, let me just show you a little clip, because you know this is all in the realm of, if you want to market, if you want to get through to people, you got to blast your way in batshit crazy on crack, you know, at 2 a.m. on El Camino Real, right? That's how you get shit done. So here's this. So after doing so you saw the press conference with President Vicente Fox, right? And you're like, okay, that's badass, right? It was so badass that I started getting death threats from criminal drug cartels. And you know what? I don't like getting death threats from fucking criminal drug cartels. So what did I do? Okay, and this is all happening in the state of Washington. This is all happening in the state of Washington, right? George Washington's state. So I come out as Darth Vader with my mom at the University of Washington and my sister Betty. And here's the statue of George Washington is right here on the right. You see that? This is the shadow of it right over my shoulder. This wasn't even planned, right?
A farewell song to the criminal drug cartels in the state of Washington. This is how we say bye-bye to the violent criminal drug cartels operating in our great state. Criminal drug cartels, criminal drug cartels will cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. Criminal drug cartels. Criminal drug cartels. They drink a whiskey drink. They drink a vodka drink. They drink a lager drink, they drink a cider drink. They sing the songs that remind them of the good times. They sing the songs that remind them of the better times. Oh, drug cartels, drug cartels, drug cartels will cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town.
I'm going to fast forward towards the end. When some cool students started to take notice and said,
So you better get out of town. Up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. Criminal drug cartels. Criminal drug cartels. Criminal drug cartels. Criminal drug cartels will cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down. You won't get up again, so you better get out of town. We'll cut you down.
and listen,
Nice.
when you get them singing, dancing, and laughing, you've won. And honest to God, the criminal drug cartel that made the most death threats, I ran them clear out of the state. They're not even in the state of Washington anymore, and I'm still alive.
Oh, wow. Hey, I've got some news. You're in the state of Washington, right?
That's right, proudly so.
So you've got a very famous, recently deceased judge that was my oldest first cousin. Her name was Mary Fairhurst. Do you know Mary? Of Mary?
I actually don't. I don't. Was she? What was she? District judge?
Supreme Court Justice for the state of Washington.
Oh, state of Washington Supreme Court. I do know one of the justices, one of the former justices, but it wasn't Mary. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, just really sweet lady, and yeah, she won by the very narrowest of margins. She graduated from Gonzaga, where her dad taught as a Jesuit. Well, I can't say priest, but he was raised in the Jesuit background, and she ended up doing her last maybe 15 years of her tenure there as going through some extreme cancer. She beat it, it came back, she beat it, it came back, and then it finally got her. But anyways, really, Mary Beth Fairhurst was my oldest first cousin out of like 40 cousins, 9 of which were in her family. So regardless, she believed in miracles. I guess that rubbed off on me a little bit. And so we're going for miracles here. It was funny, at one point I asked her about, because she's got she needs to make a lot of decisions that are law-based, and then she was a pretty religious person. But at one point, we were having a dinner, and I asked her about how that conflicted, and she said, well, the law is the law, and I need to, I am the law, and I need to dictate the law and to do the best I can to determine its meaning with various decisions that I have to make constantly. And then I asked her a little bit about religion, and she goes, well, religion's kind of funny because it's kind of like the positive energy
I mean, you can think about it in a lot of different ways. It's like the positive energy. I mean, life is energy, and I mean, we could all be here on Earth, and we could be, you know, basically the size of the tip of a pen on a pencil on a beach. So I mean, you know, it's there's a lot of things that are left up to decide on that. But you just said life is energy and energy is life, and whether or not you want to call it Christianity or Judaism or whatever you want to do. I mean, you know, there's a lot of interpretation there, but there's also something else to be noted, and that is that all major religions basically came up with the start of the plow through the soil. As soon as they can control the grain, they could control the people. Here we are. But you know, did you ever end up posting that Richard Manning feed that I sent you?
Did we ever what about the posting?
Did you ever end up posting the Richard Manning?
Oh, I haven't posted it anywhere. I don't really post stuff. I'm not really into social media, which is a major missing, right?
No, I just meant emailed, actually.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah.
Okay. But it, you know, that was probably one of the top 3 videos that when I watched it, I was like, that was interesting. I really didn't understand it. I watched it about 5 times more, and then I got it. And he's a good egg.
Oh,
as far as
incredible.
describing things.
Incredible, top-notch, A+, amazing.
Bill Reese is also a good guy. Do you have anything to say about him?
I don't recall the Bill Reese one. Did we watch that together here? Did we stream that?
Probably not, but he's another clever feller that is worth giving a look to. Michael Dowd with Post Doom series. I think he interviewed Kevin Hester recently. Somebody had mentioned. All really good forums. Where's Kevin moving to, by the way? I thought he was on an island and he was just completely content with where he was at.
He's either on an island off New Zealand or on a boat or something like that.
But he's moving somewhere. That's what somebody said today, because I thought he wouldn't even leave the island because he was so worried to not be able to get back. Regardless, Guy McPherson is sleeping well with Pauline, saying, "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so." Have you
I
guys
want to
all
come in and
seen-
say, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was just going to say something about the globe. I'm just remembering supermarkets. I've not been in one in like 2 or 3 years or so, but anyway, I think they might have something fixed on the ceiling to help them watch people mechanically without having to have monitors and cameras if they're stealing. I don't know if you've ever seen it, and maybe I've seen it in small shops, maybe not markets, domes hanging on the wall that would be like mirrors, and perhaps like the mirrors that I put in the in the chat, my idea was maybe acrylic glass that had some kind of silver, mercury, or whatever, the kind of thing inside, like a mirror, like the actual silver stuff they put on mirrors. So that was my footnote to the globe. However, make your own globe or whatever, you know, or source your globe.
Yeah, you could use one of those like big, you know, dome-like mirrors that they use for like those dangerous curves in the road, so you can see who's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's ready-made.
That's kind of flat. I think
No, but
those are flatter than the ones that I'm thinking on the ceiling.
huh. Yeah, the bottom line is we've got some ready-made solutions. I actually think the stainless steel would be the most elegant, right? And since
Mm-hmm.
Bill is totally connected with whoever needs to bend the metal, polish the metal, fasten the metal, you know. I mean, we want to show off our
Mm-hmm.
skills here. That's the thing. We want to show off our skills. We want it to be something that no one's ever seen before, right? No one had ever seen, huh?
You can definitely polish up stainless steel to be very reflective.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I forgot how much that is. So it could even be like a mirror, like be used as a mirror. Yeah, I get it.
And the thing is, stainless steel is so much sexier than glass,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're talking stainless with like a
Cool.
C3PO polish that people say, what the hell is that?
That's
I
cool.
get it, but the fact that glass can reflect or disallow the entire infrared event from even happening, nothing sexier than silica glass. But I digress.
Yeah, no. See, you're thinking functionality, Bill. I'm thinking marketing.
Franco, why isn't your camera on? How come you're invisible to us?
That's because I'm sitting in darkness. You probably couldn't see me much. It's I have not decided whether I should go to bed or stay up. But I'm definitely not exposing myself to proper light. And also my connection isn't too good.
Sorry,
So I'm
improper.
bandwidth. Those two reasons. I'm not hugely ugly.
Improper question. We just missed seeing you.
I can just quickly put on the torch of my other phone, or just like that. You can see me a little bit. Right.
Come
But
on,
thanks
I'm
for
hanging around
wanting
with
to
a bunch
see
of
me.
guys.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said I'm hanging around a bunch of guys, and it's nice to
Oh.
see a female once in a while. I can see a silhouette. There you are. I can see your silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if that's inappropriate, everybody. Kind of.
Mm.
Right.
You're dressing me as a, well, anyway, I was just getting all sexist here. I was thinking of PAs are often women, and I'm thinking maybe somebody could be our PA, having a structure that they drop all our ideas into, and then kind of like somehow it's all in a document, and it can be seen at a glance. Lots of little diagrams and bullet points. Stuff can be assessed and evaluated very quickly. I wonder whether that would be a cool thing if we found somebody like that who would accompany those campfire meetings.
So just as an example, Mir uses David R. with Mir has an engineer who does voiceovers for his animated, I think I've already told you guys this, for his animated projects. It's the most soothing voice you ever heard, for me, that I've ever heard. And it just comes across as trustworthy. I mean, imagine all the people, I mean, you know, but I mean, imagine if women ruled the world. I mean, you know, how much different would this be? I mean, if you start getting into apes, the bonobos, the women rule the classes, they rule the society. There's no war, they control everything the right way. If you want to find out how, you just have to look into the bonobos.
Shankar's been contemplative all night and he's got his hand up. Let's hear from Shankar.
Yeah, I just want to ask one item, like I know, I think I brought this before, Jamin, but I forgot what was the answer. The road lines or the street signs and everything, they would have something called phosphorescence. So the one property in the phosphorescence is it magnifies the light. Like it could be as tiny, the moment the light falls, it can appear as if some few diameters bigger. Or so can that be used also because as a reflective, because I feel how much materials we need. If in that case, a little of these dots, when you group together, they form a big thing, big reflective medium.
Yeah, that kind of durable reflective paint. Oh, Bill, were you going to answer that? Okay, sorry, I thought I heard someone talking. My intuition is that very special reflective paint, pigment, etc., is probably expensive, and we need something that we can use that, you know, is millions of square miles of this stuff. So marine cloud brightening is by far the most economical. Glass mirrors are about 1,000 times more expensive per square meter, but still important. And somewhere in between, but probably way on the less expensive side, approaching the economics of marine cloud brightening, is ICE 911, right? For sprinkling on top of the dirty ice of Greenland, the Arctic, etc. So I think that's also very, very important, ICE 911, especially given the criticality of the Arctic. But anything that's kind of high tech, expensive, nah, because we need millions of square miles of this stuff to make a dent. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I don't understand is that when I heard about, I've heard this constantly, and that is that somebody needs to, and that is that the engineers will come up with a way to solve the problem in the end. So we've got David Salter, we've got Dr. David Salter, and we've got Dr. Yi Tao, and they've done it. And it's still like, everybody's like, what?
Yeah, it's Stephen Salter and Ye Tao.
Sorry.
And
sorry.
And the thing is, you know, definitely they've come up with the engineering solutions. It's just that they've beamed these solutions down to a planet that is deeply screwed up psychologically, socially, culturally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's our job to unscrew humanity to the point that we can actually get this done. Right. So there's two approaches. One is, you know, get a few billionaires together and do it quietly. Another is to get a large number of people together and do it publicly. Right. And with a dome on your car, on the San Francisco Peninsula, where there's just insane amounts of money, that's one way to get a few people together and do it quietly, either as a for-profit venture or as a whatever, I don't know, cook up you've got all the talent you need between Sand Hill Road to the south and San Francisco to the north. You've got all the talent you need to put together whatever instruments, whatever mechanisms, you need, financial and otherwise, legal, etc., if you want to do it quietly. In Los Angeles, we're going down to start a revolution, to do something big and public, very big, very public, worldwide, centered around food. And then we'll have SRM following in tow, right? So we kind of have two bookends here. We got a silver dome attracting the billionaires on the San Francisco Peninsula. And then we have Los Angeles, where we're just starting a people's revolution. Either one of those bookends or somewhere in between, we're going to find the sweet spot and we're going to punch through. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, speaking of Love All, Feed All Los Angeles, I forgot, and I just remembered, and I went to take a look. I still have an email to send off to Captain Watson, and it's looking a little long to me. Would we be wanting to go over it with me and maybe give some suggestions?
Could you give us some context? Who's Captain Watson and what's the gist of it?
Captain Watson is Paul Watson of the Sea Shepherd. Has done all that work with saving, the whales and all other sea life. He's very famous, and he was bragging at the VCOP how he was using and has connections with all these celebrities like Bo Derek and can't remember his name now. One of the guys that's vegan. Anyhow, a list of celebrities. And I asked him if he would be willing to sit down with us, like with Professor Salter. I did mention him by name. Sit down with a scientist that has global warming, reversible and stopped and reversible. And he said he'll listen to anything. And Silas, gave me his email to move forward with that. And I'm thinking if we can get him on board, see what, that this is marine cloud brightening is the way to go, then he can help us not only with his celebrity, but connect to other celebrities.
I'll tell you what, here's my proposal. I say, let's take that offline, send the email out to whoever you want, including everyone in this room, and we'll just do it offline. The reason I say that is because it's kind of more of a quiet sit down, edit, because I think I just feel like we're on a really good track right now. Cool. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. But really important what you're saying, super important. Sea Shepherd, that's kind of, that Homeboy's got some serious cred. And let's think about who needs to send that email, who needs to be copied on that email, because he's friends with Silas, right?
Yeah.
Great. So you send it, copy Silas, we'll help you edit it between me and everyone in this room. Right. Let's just do an email thread, old school. No Telegraph, no Discord, no weird shit, just email,
Yeah. Sounds good.
Marcos, did you say Bo Derek or Daryl Hannah?
Bo Derek.
Okay.
That was one of the examples he uses is like, a reporter called him on, what the hell are we doing here? What's Bo Derek know about this, this situation, with the environment? He said, you know what? She doesn't need to know anything about it. She got your ass here. because that's what you guys chase, is celebrity. So now we've got your attention, you're here, and you're going to listen to me talk about the issue, you know?
Yeah, she's done her job. Speaking of Bo Derek, I'm going to go get some food real quick. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'll be back, and we're continuing recording.
Hey, Marcus, it sounds like you've had a pretty bad hand issue. I'm sorry to hear that you had a 200-pound nephew or somebody like that run into you. Tough.
Just that, you know, he's at that clumsy age where he doesn't realize how big he is and how much space he needs to get through.
Yeah. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. It's Marco. Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks.
What happened?
Yeah.
Let me ask.
What's that?
You okay? You doing okay? Yeah.
Well, I been to the ER and they said the x-rays they did said it's a possible scaphoid fracture. They said because of those are kind of hard to see anyway, and sometimes they don't develop for a day or two. And I need to follow up with the surgeon, and I can't get until Monday, bottom line. So I was in a lot of pain right now. I'm taking a lot of pain meds to keep it knocked down now to participate today. Yesterday, I just did 24 hours of meditation and hypnosis and meditation to keep unconscious, only awake to pee a couple times, and dealt with it that way. So I wasn't taking so much pain medicine. But today I'm pushing with the pain meds. Been trying to get, they had me on a cancellation list, but didn't come through. So I got to get through till Monday.
Yeah, almost it goes so quick. I hope that you find a way to bear the pain.
It wasn't just those kind of fractures tend to show up after a couple of days, but it's also, they said I have so much arthritis in there that it's just hard to see anything.
Yeah, you heard about Dr. McDougall, right? Dr. McDougall, who came on one of the rooms. I think he came in the Salish room, the Convergence.
Yeah.
So he has a good list, and he has taken people from arthritis out even 2 weeks or something. So
he's done what?
Yes, as quick as 2 weeks. So let me give you his link. Success Stories, Dr. McDougall.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if he was in.
Yeah, he came as a speech. You remember last?
Yeah, I actually got a chance to question him, and he, if I'm remembering the right guy, he was really, everybody there was so awesome, and so free with their advice. And I think he was one of the ones that gave his phone number and said, "Call me."
Yeah,
Nice.
He's
Success Story star McDougallers in their own words. Nice.
And I would give you even this. You have it's called McDonald Moments. Yes, a big list, big compilation. He talks about almost all the topic, which, see, the thing is, if I give a big lecture, you'll be lost. But he gives a snippet. Then from there, you slowly gain and you say, okay, all right, this makes relevance. Okay, I see this. I'm already doing this good. Oh, something for my attention. like that he takes you, and then he has a lecture on each topic with experts. So kind of yes, like people have success doing like, so it's like we are reducing one after another, so that actually when all pain come together, it's difficult.
Yeah.
We don't like a multiple complications. Like one is easy to handle, but more than one comes together. That's a
Right. That's
like
me. I've got one on top of the other.
yeah, and we don't. Right, we are like one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Shankar.
Sure. It's almost 2. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. I still have to resume my work. I'm probably going to get up. If I get up early, I'll join you guys.
All right, Shankar.
Thank you.
Bye,
Great.
Shankar.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Priyanka. Thank you, everyone. Like, yeah, hope you keep posted.
Just a quick second. I looked at your link. I didn't quite get why you put it there. Would you like us to share our success stories on that website?
Oh, it's from we had a convergence couple of days last week, Saturday, Sunday. One of the guests was Dr. John McDougall. So he is based in California, I guess. So he's a very long timer, old timer, like recovering people or helping people to totally like anything impacts the health or anything to totally by changing the lifestyle. So on here, there's a link which you have a stories or the like a testimony from each of the people who kind of made the lifestyle better. Then also some tips from the doctors on like, okay, all right, if you're doing this, watch out on this, something like that. So that's what I was sharing to Marco. Like the links actually give you a little bit details to, and if he has a YouTube channel where 1 hour lecture about the very in-depth about the topic. So depending on your curiosity and technical details, you can actually do. And he also does a live session. So the details are here, which takes you to the amount of depth of information you're looking for.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty awesome.
it was for health for Marco, or just for all of us. It wasn't necessarily for cooling the planet or feeding people. I was just wondering what to do with the website.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. In fact, the last Sunday, the session, I think Marco, you can explain. I would let you to explain. The last session, he was telling about how you heal the body, heal the earth.
Oh.
Marco, I would let you to explain, Marco.
Yeah, it's basically, when you go to the plant-based diet, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing the planet. It's all one process. We're part of the problem and we're part of the solution, and plant-based is the way to go for our health and the health of the planet. Which includes, that's after we've done the emergency cooling or, stopping of the overheating and reverse, done some cooling. Then we have time to practice and turn our society into a truly sustainable society. The biggest part of which will be a plant-based diet.
Yeah, I think that's the main thrust of the different pillars of what we do. I was just wondering what to do with the website, really.
Yeah, it's a lot of information on particular health problems, and he gives, I can see he gives, like shorter and longer videos on, the more depth you want to go into, you watch the longer videos.
Got it. So it could be good for our own health.
Yeah,
just to look at
good for
videos.
anybody.
Yeah. Got it. Brilliant. Thank you, Shankar.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, yeah. Okay, I'll just excuse myself. See you guys soon.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Shankar, have a great night.
This is one of the best parts of being here is how we all look out for each other.
Hmm.
And you know how I was just thinking, like, sometimes when we're just sitting here kind of staring, what we're doing, we're simultaneously contemplating two things. One, the insanely screwed up state of the world, delusion, addiction, competition, all this. We're also looking at each other and saying, wow, what a badass team we got here. Those are a couple of things that go through my mind when we're just like staring at the screen at midnight going, huh?
Yeah, I look at the people that are on screen, and I can see the gears working.
I guess I want to come back. I would like to come back to this one billionaire philanthropist that I mentioned earlier today, or in my case, yesterday, Tony Robbins. I worked out that I do have an indirect email of him. I've got, because I've participated in his programs, I've got the Team Robbins at tonyrobbins.com. That's that's an email address that will get a message at least into his sphere somehow. That's one thing. And then he seems to partner with Feeding America, or he probably has his own organization as well. Or is that his own organization? Anyway, he quite likes to show off the many millions of people he fed, the meals he buys. So I kind of feel he likes to have it attached to his name rather than just cooperating. I'm not sure about that. But I feel that some really good letter and some really good info should be sent his way. And maybe he can even be convinced about funding CRM. I'm not the one to do it. I'm only the one to have the idea. I'm not good at writing those letters, or, I can be part of those people who do it if people were going to do it.
So as Damon pointed out earlier to me, it's SRM and MCB and also MEER. But regardless, I think that's a great suggestion, Franca. And so if what you need is editing capabilities, if it's not within this team, Joseph with Mirror can also help you out too, if we can eventually cross over the boundary here. And I don't know how that's going to work, but I got a Sunday meeting, and I'm hoping to get Yi to respond to James' invitation. But great recommendation, Franca.
Okay, I'm looking on Facebook and Tony Robbins and his fundraisers. These are past ones. Let's help end hunger this Giving Tuesday. $10 equals 300 meals. Fundraiser for Feeding America by Tony Robbins. Here's provide meals to those in need this holiday. I'll triple your donation. Fundraiser for Feeding America by Tony Robbins. Another one where he provide meals to those in need. I'll triple your donation. Yeah. So but he definitely wants his name attached. He wants all the glory that goes with it. He's very much about that.
He's very happy and proud about his work. Yeah.
And I've, done a couple of his challenges. I've watched him over the years. He's definitely got an element of narcissist in a good way, I guess. But he wants to be seen for everything he's doing.
And funnily enough, he talks about him being a vegetarian. I'm not sure that he's vegan. I think he's vegetarian, but I'm not sure about that. He could make such a big song and dance about that. Everybody kind of knows it. He's this giant, and he's probably taken illegal things to build up his muscles at some point because his jaw's got this funny shape like Arnold Schwarzenegger's. But maybe he's happy to make it a big story. Or do you see it on Facebook that he doesn't eat animals? Maybe that would be another inroad to his heart.
Yeah, as many times as I've run across him or participated in any of his things, I think maybe I can't find it for sure.
It's a bit like Hitler. He was vegetarian and he didn't make a song and dance about it. I'm not comparing Tony Robbins to Hitler, but both of them could have made a big song and dance about it, but they didn't.
Right. Although it's funny, as you say, you're not comparing him to Hitler. I'm looking at a picture of him doing,
I've just participated in one of those big Nuremberg things, he can explain why he does it. And at first I thought, oh my goodness, what a sect, what a cult. I need to get out of here. And maybe it is in line with him needing to feel alive in this way. But as a psychologist, I can see how, he's all about energy and momentum. And this is not necessarily where I play, thinking that is the main thing that's needed. But this is the way he has the whole thousands and thousands of people get into this frenzy. He explains to them why it's a good thing, and then they do it. So if you just waltz on in to this event, not knowing that it's actually serving a good purpose, yes, Goebbels, this would be Goebbels' wet dream.
Huh. So
his appearance, being odd is due to a pituitary tumor.
Sorry, what?
His odd physical shape is due to a pituitary tumor.
Oh, I see. Wow.
And he's no longer vegan. But he claims to have a healthy balance of salad and meat.
Okay. All right. Back in the day when I was actually in one of those live things, in a room with them, that was the thing, that he was vegetarian. That was before vegan was even a thing in the 90s, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember when he was vegetarian. But then he was vegan for a while, but he's no longer a vegan.
Would he still prefer not to harm animals, though? I think he does. I don't think he's wasteful with the meat eating, or sources his meat from particularly cruel sources. It might still appeal to him if he could fund help with the non-murder food.
Well, yeah, the animals that he eats are murdered compassionately.
Mhm. Yeah.
Before they murder the animals, they have Tony get up in front of them and say, "All right, let's get ready to go to animal heaven. Woo! And now I'm going to take you there. God bless you. I love you. Hi-ya."
By the way, Franca, you know, so if you were to sever my head, which I hope you don't, and I would just sever your head and we would weigh them, my head might weigh almost twice as much as yours. Men have big catfish, big ass heads. That's how we're, and so do crabs. I mean, you know, we're just different. I mean, when I look at, I mean, females have, women, Homo sapiens, have just tiny little heads. And I've got this big catfish. My dad one time walked into a hat store at a flea market, and he looked at the guy and he says, "Would you like to buy a hat?" My dad said, "If you have a hat that can fit my head, I'll buy it." My dad had the biggest head on the planet. I don't even know what the heck it was in that melon. But anyways, he's the nicest guy you ever wanted to meet. And he died way too early in life. But that being said, you know, Tony Robinson's head and females' heads are, anyways, it's you guys are like half. I mean, it's almost like half as big as a man's head. We're just, I don't know why. Evolution knows why. But yeah, the crabs definitely say before we boil them, they definitely give me this. I know I'm not getting any fans. I know I'm not getting any fans here from saying that, but regardless, I'm a fisherman. So
You're getting closer to having your head severed. You're achieving that.
I don't know. Maybe you can show me the light, dear. Listen, I've gone full vegan, and I felt really great. I mean, you know, and then all of a sudden I looked at this problem and I'm like, you know what? Life is short, just like all these, you know, I don't know. I can be shown the light. I just, you know, I don't know. I can be shown the light. I can eat vegan and be totally happy. I can totally do it. I'm just not with anybody at the particular moment. And if they were vegan, I'd be fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to go out of your way when you buy stuff, or buy food.
So now I'm lazy.
I am. I'm only vegetarian and only mainly vegetarian.
Why aren't you here in Burlingame? We could go off and have a date.
Well, one, I'm
Married, happily
well,
married.
if I was to oversimplify it, I'd just say I'm gay.
You know
That's
what?
not the
For
full
me,
picture, but mainly.
how about this? How about this? I have had a crush. I have literally asked out 4 different gay women because I just thought they were so amazing. And I'm like, you know what sucks about you and me is we both like the same thing. We both love it. And it just sucks because I literally find out nice, professional, very